Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
What up? What up? Yes, hump day.
Hump day.
Yeah. Sports Day, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I see all our friends. I see you, Lucius. I see you, Jeremiah, Brandon, Fitness Rebel. What up, Fitness Rebel? Philly 559, GG. I see Jeremiah. And you know who else I see? Derek Gunn. I see Barrett Brooks. I got my two handsome faces back today. We miss B. Brooks in his absence, but we are rocking
we did.
and rolling.
I mean, yeah, we did.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we did.
Derek didn't even realize we were in the pre-show meeting, and Derek was like, "Oh yeah, you were off yesterday." He always has to get dig it in there.
It was uncalled for, man. Why we
was.
always being so damn childish on this show?
I know. Can't take you guys anywhere.
Wait just a minute. Wait just a minute.
You get more
just want you
Cabela's
guys-
here, by the way. What's going on here, man?
Yeah, I did. I got all these gift cards my family gives me.
Man.
Every time it's my birthday or Father's Day, they always ask me, "What do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Father's Day?" You know, I just give me gift cards to Cabela's because I don't buy just stuff for me. I buy stuff for my grandkids. Or, you know,
Yeah, I got you.
so I don't just buy it for me. But every now and then I'll see a sweatshirt or something. What's that?
But no B Brooks.
He's got your address. You can send a little something over to Barrett.
Yeah, and don't take this the wrong way, but I have not seen a section for your size. I'm just saying. No, I'm serious.
That's cold, man.
I knew it. No matter how I said it, it was going to come out wrong.
Man.
Just
I'm
dig.
just saying,
Woody Woodpecker's at it again.
My wife,
Yes.
see, Trish can verify this. When we go to Cabela's, they have great selections of stuff. If you know you're into the outdoor stuff, but I'm serious. I've not seen. Like, you know how they have big and tall section? I've not seen a big and tall section in Cabela's. I'm being honest.
All right,
Cool.
I forgive you.
See, you think I'm taking a dig. Look at Rob's face. See, Rob's the instigator on this show. I
You
always
said
get
it.
blamed.
You said it.
I
What did
always
do?
get blamed for being the instigator. Rob is that sneaky dude. You know, Rob was that big brother. You know what he is? You know what he is, Barrett? Rob's that big brother. He thumped the other brother in the ear, and then he run behind Mom when the other brother come after him. Mom, he's chasing me again. You know, that's but you know what? You can't get to me today. I'm in a different place.
Not today?
No.
The world looks different today. Everything's brighter, smells better.
Namaste.
You know,
Namaste.
I'm almost embracing fall. Almost.
Wow, that's
you
a
went
stretch.
too far.
Almost is the operative word.
You went too
I'm
far.
just saying.
Derek, you know what I really like
What?
from you today?
What?
I like your accoutrement in the background. You have
My
your
what?
lint. You have your lint roller
Where?
right
Where is
there.
it?
Where
Oh,
your
let me
Eagles.
get rid of that. You know why I had it? We got this one dog we had, man. This dog walks around, he sheds everywhere. And it's like little white needles everywhere. And dude, and I brush him off. And 5 minutes later, he's covered in hair. And my wife buys him these cute little, you'll see these dogs got these cute hoodies.
Oh, God. You put your dog in a hoodie? Oh, no.
My wife has hoodies for the dogs.
Oh, my God.
Only D-Gun, man.
They look, you know what? I'm going to have her take a picture of what and show it to you. I mean, they look cute.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
just
not a
saying.
big fan of putting dogs in clothes, but hey, man, do
Why?
what you got to do.
Let me tell you this story. So one year, this was like a few years after we had just moved to Delaware. So my brother-in-law brings us this dog from California, you know, puppy. It turned out to be a fox terrier. So we had one real bad winter My wife decides to go buy the dog booties, little booties, right? Okay. So the dog can walk in the snow. We put the booties on the dog. The dog came back in -2 booties. We couldn't find the booties.
The dog was out there like, get these things off of me, and he can only get 2 off. Yeah.
Oh, no, Jeremiah, I did not convince my wife to buy the dog's hoodies. My wife buys these, and they're cute little hoodies. And the one dogs, they're small dogs, short-haired dogs, so they get colder when the weather changes. They walk around shaking. So they have a collection of hoodies, and I never put my dogs in the hoodies when I was coming up. My dog, hey, you tough it out. You either go outside or you stay in. It's that simple.
Oh my God. All right. So yesterday, I forgot to tell you guys this before while you, Gunner, when we were doing the show. So I had my daughter's soccer team does these like pasta parties. Everybody sort of takes a turn or what. I don't know if you guys did this when your kids were playing, whatever, in high school. But so, I mean, she's a senior, so we were like, all right, we haven't done one yet. This is our time. So you talk about like preparation and everything that goes into this, man.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot. Like
so
I was
running around. Like
I did some. My wife did a ton, but I was like getting tables, getting chairs, like setting up, set it all up in the yard and on the deck. So we had 40,
welcome to my world.
Yeah, we had 40 kids from the JV and the varsity, freshmen to seniors. It was probably like 35-ish, around there, 35 over yesterday, man. That's a scene, man. Yeah,
I used to when I was young and dumb.
Yes,
have parties, and we had like 350 people in our backyard. And we stopped after one day. There was one incident that just turned me sour on it, man. We had this one party, man, and well, it wasn't even my party. It was my kids' party. So they had a party. I said, look, you can invite.
Dude, that's a lot of people, by the way. That's a wedding.
Right, that's too many people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's a Halloween party. And I told my kids, look, you take and you can give out 20 flyers and they can go to the come to the party at the house, so we, decorate everything, have the party house. Well, these bad kids, they went and copied the damn things and gave it out. That's how 350 kids ended up in my house. Parents was they weren't even stopping to let the kids out. They were rolling and kicking them out. I'm like, yo, come back here, jetting off. I'm like, yo, all these kids got to go, bro. They got to go. It was 350 kids. I'm like, y'all got to go with no food and nothing either. Y'all got to go, man, because I only have enough food for
crazy.
Why are you so cruel like that?
50 people.
Why are you cruel like that? You kick people out of the house,
bro. I was stopping them from even dropping them off. I told you the parents was kicking them out the car and wasn't even stopping. They were just rolling them out, bro.
They got rid of the kids.
Yeah, I'm like, no, come get these.
You stopped the kids from coming to your house?
Yes, because it'd been more than that.
That's wrong, man. That's so wrong.
All the jokes are rolling in now.
Hey,
all the comedians are out in full force.
Mr. Taz said, Rob making pasta. Mr. No flavor.
I love this one right here. That's crazy.
Why do I even open myself up to this? Why do I even do it, man?
When my girls played field hockey and softball in high school, my wife was like the team mom, and she would make her famous chocolate chip cookies.
Right.
And she would take them out to the game. Man, it was like kids on crack running to get some cookies.
Oh, they start throwing some of those down, man. Forget it.
Dude.
Bro.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I got to take cookies to the team. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I remember Trish told me she made them cookies especially for me. And you brought them to the office and got to sharing people. I'm like, no, you don't share my cookies, man.
Man, my wife told me to share the cookies, Barrett. What do you want me to do?
She said she was making them for me.
She said there are a few of them for Barrett. She goes, give Barrett the small. When she would give Barrett cookies, she would make a little small collection and put them in a separate baggie for Barrett. Barrett thought he was entitled to the whole tray.
Oh, I know.
I would take cookies to the office. Dude, it was like a feeding frenzy in the office.
Right.
Like, here's mine. Where's the rest for everybody else?
Right. I'm like, those were for me. My sister made them for me.
But I will say this though. Now that this year has gone by, I will admit, when she would give me cookies to take to the office. You know, my drive was 45-minute drive from
done.
my house.
They were done.
It was 45 minutes from my house.
By the
to
time
office.
you crossed the Pennsylvania line, they were done. You got to Pennsylvania. It was over.
Dude, that's you know, I'm talking about don't let the devil tempt you.
Exactly.
Dude, a plate of cookies sitting on the front seat, and I'm smelling it fresh out of the oven. And when you pick them up, Barrington, when you pick up my wife's cookies, they melt. They're so soft, right?
Bro,
Dude, I'd have about 5 or 6 cookies before they get to the office.
I'm that way. Look, are you guys like if I get a pizza and it's smelling really good and it's sitting there in my front seat, man, it's trouble. I got a bag with fries in it. It's trouble. Man. It's trouble on the way.
Bro,
my wife asked me to go get like 5 Guys fries. Ain't no way that bag's making it to the house without me sampling those fries. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah.
There's no way.
All it is I'm just testing to make sure it's okay for everybody else.
That's what I keep telling them.
Quality control, man. Quality control damage.
I'm about looking out for people. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. If they're going to be poisoned, I'd rather go down and leave my family up right. I'll take the bullet for this. I got to test the fries, man. I got to make sure.
You know, she made these. I mean, these cookies were amazing, bro. There's peanut butter.
Goodness.
These peanut butter cookies, and she put the Hershey Kiss on the top of them.
Oh yeah.
He give me my bag and 2 Hershey's Kisses missing on the top of it. He ate the Hershey's Kiss.
Yeah.
That's wrong, man.
I don't know. It just fell out. I don't know.
It sounded good, though, right?
Exactly.
That's a lie. I've never tested to take the Hershey Kiss off the top of the cookie. I've never done that. You know, he's sitting here lying.
Why is there a hole right in the middle? It's unbelievable.
She would give me specific instructions. Now, look, these are for so-and-so, so don't take these. And these, the rest are for everybody else.
Yeah, right.
Why she won't tell me that? Because you know I got to take one for whoever they're for.
Yeah.
I got to taste one. And then by the time they were so happy to get them off, they didn't know how many was supposed to get.
Exactly.
Derek, why is there only 3? There's enough space for 6.
Yeah.
It's her fault. She shouldn't be such a good baker. It's her fault.
Is this a bite mark in this one? What are going on? Oh my God. All right, so we got a lot going on today, man. Brandon Lee Gouton, who does an unbelievable job, and we've had Brandon on, a bunch of different times on the show, but he was down there in DC this past weekend, so we'll get the latest on what went down there. But Eagles reporter, managing editor-in-chief for Bleeding Green, he'll be joining us at 1:00. We got Eagles practicing today, back at it after the off day yesterday. Sixers at training camp in the Citadel. We got Flyers preseason, which is crazy. And I need to pace myself for the Phillies. I will explode.
Here we go.
In the first segment. We're going to do it a little later. I got to stay calm. All right. Okay. No, I don't. So let me just say this. I thought Rob Thompson did a bad job, managing this. Okay. Now, and I don't even know if it's fully his fault, but explain to me, guys. I'm dying to know this. All right. You had an off day Monday. Okay. After the game, during the game last night, he puts Connor Brogdon in there, who's been a mess. Connor Brogdon, who has a 7.24 ERA in 15 appearances since August 21st.
What?
He uses him in a high leverage situation in a 1-1 game. He gives up the run. Phillies lose. Now, granted, the bats stunk. It's ultimately the bats' fault, but let me at least get this off my chest.
It's the bats' fault.
So after the game, Thompson says Sir Anthony, Eflin, and Bellotti aren't available. Last time I checked, it is September 27th. You are in a playoff push, and you're leaking oil already. Guys aren't available. Suck it the bleep up and get out there and pitch.
This is a pennant race, right?
What the hell is going on, man?
Hey, Rob, every team does this, though. Every team does this, though. I don't understand these specialist pitchers anymore. Or you can only pitch X amount of pitches per X amount of days. I've never understood that.
Especially now, Derek. It's not April. You know what I mean? Like, you got to win now.
You got to suck it up.
Our stream knows you, man. Look at Mr. Taz. Who's getting cursed, Rob?
Yes.
Hey, I'm glad Mr. Taz brought this.
It's coming, Mr. Taz. Trust me.
Mr. Taz, I'm glad you brought this up because in our pre-show meeting, I said, Rob, today we're going to do a segment when we get to the baseball, because even in the pre-show meeting, Rob was getting hot about the Phillies. So I said in the Phillies segment, we're going to go through the pitchers, and I'm going to ask Mr. Ellis, do you want to fire them, or are you going to put them on layaway? So Rob, I got right now I have 2, 4, 6 pictures on here, and as the show continues, I'll add a few more just to get your blood boiling even more so.
All right, good. I'm in. All right, stay tuned. Okay. We're going to get to that. Good. This is interesting, guys. The Eagles are off to a great start. We know that. but the individual accolades are rolling in. So Brandon Graham gets the Defensive Player of the Week. Of course,
Yeah.
BG, 2.5 sacks, 6 tackles, 5 quarterbacks hits, and a forced fumble, and a pass defense. Great game for Brandon. Good for him. They've now had 3 straight, guys. They've had McPherson special teams. They've had Slay, of course, with the 2 picks against Minnesota, and then Brandon with what he did last week. So that's pretty cool from an Eagle standpoint. Here's something else ironic. Trevor Lawrence gets the Offensive Player of the Week in the AFC.
Oh, yeah.
Where's Trevor Lawrence playing this weekend?
Oh,
exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
Pretty cool.
He torched a pretty good Chargers defense.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He went out and torched them.
Yeah.
And Doug Peterson has changed his whole mojo and how to approach the game at this level. Well, not just Doug Peterson, but you have Press Taylor as the offensive coordinator. Mike McCoy is the quarterback coach. Those are good coaches, and they've all changed his MO and his perspective on how to be a professional quarterback. And I watched some of the highlights of Trevor Lawrence from that game against the Chargers.
Yeah.
This kid's night and day different. He's closer to what he was at Clemson compared to what he was under Urban Meyer.
Agreed. He is the Clemson guy. He is
He's
not the Urban
been
Meyer.
groomed like this since
Hi,
he was like 5 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Mom, good morning. We'll get after
He was the number 1 guy coming out in high school. He had offers in like 7th grade.
Right.
From like big time Division I programs.
He and the Chicago Bears
Justin Fields.
He and Justin Fields were going back and forth. Number 1, number 2, number 2, number 1.
Yeah.
Their entire life of playing sports, man.
Yeah.
So I knew he was good. You know what I'm saying? But Doug, I think, has put him in a position to be very good.
Hey, Mama Brooks, your son has not cursed yet, so I just want you to know that. He's behaving right now. We still have 2 hours and 50 minutes to go, but he hasn't cursed yet.
A long way to go. So far, so good.
Rob might curse.
Today might be the day. Yeah, today. I may have cursed in the pre-show meeting. That may have happened. There might have been some blue language used.
I keep telling you guys, you need to be more like me.
Oh, no.
Nothing's that important anymore.
Yeah.
Everything's
Mr. Zen.
What'd you say? Sneaky.
Sneaky? Yeah, sneaky. That's
what
you are. Sneaky.
Hey,
Fortuna, Captain Tony says it's almost like the Queen. So you talk about Queens and Phillies, you're gonna get it from Rob. Period. Point blank.
Correct. Yeah.
Rob may get a few people fired today. We haven't had a Rob firing in quite some time.
It may happen.
Look, his face is already as red as the banner behind him.
I know. It doesn't take much to get me red. I'm see-through to begin with.
Did I not tell you, Rob? Did I not tell you all week that the Phillies were going to have trouble with the Cubs? Did I not tell you that?
Yes.
The tricky one is getting through this series with the Cubs. And I'm not surprised. I mean, the Cubs have their number this year. It used to be the Marlins. This year's the Cubs.
You're right.
I told you they're going to have problems with this team. But the good thing is Milwaukee keeps helping them out because Milwaukee right now should be even or at least a half game ahead of the Phillies if they had blown a couple of games. But Milwaukee's pitching staff stinks.
They do. I totally concur with that. Hey, let me show you.
So does ours.
Yeah. Well, especially the bullpen right now is a disaster. Yeah.
No, I thought the bullpen's pretty good, Rob. I mean,
no, not lately.
No,
not lately.
Oh,
man,
okay,
for sure.
Bye, Trish.
Hi, Trish.
She walked by.
Xander, I need the Eagles black helmets, please, if you could pull those up, because guys, we got a little word when the Eagles going to be wearing these the black helmets. It's going to be Week 12 against Green Bay. It's going to be Christmas Eve, which is Week 16 versus the Cowboys, and it's Week 18, which is the final game of the season versus the Giants.
Look at the helmet.
I love that, man. I know traditionalists don't like get away from the green helmet.
You can't get away from that, man. That's hot.
Bear.
That's hot as fish grease. Bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, awesome. Bear, you know you like that, Bear. That helmet is sweet.
No, that is phenomenal. Yeah.
So I went and had to shoot a commercial yesterday for World Cup soccer, and I brought my old helmet. And
nice. So the Kelly
old
Green?
Helmet. No, not that one, not the Kelly Green one, but the other one, the Midnight Green.
Okay.
And I brought up to I have the Philadelphia Unions. I was up there with them.
Yeah, Subaru Park. That's a great place.
Man, that's beautiful, man.
It's awesome. How about that view of the bridge?
That is unbelievable.
Great, yeah. I never understood though why they put that stadium in that particular area though. It's
a beautiful area. It's just one way in, one way out. That's horrible.
But I will tell you, the design of that stadium is
gorgeous.
off the charts.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's why
What
it's
is
so
this, Mr.
good.
Tuna? Rob has won me over. He can be on the fishing team. No,
Yes.
he can't. No,
Yes,
he
it can.
cannot. No, no.
Yes.
See, Rob is that dude. No, see, Rob is that dude. He's so happy to be on the boat and Rob. He starts slinging and he don't care who. See, the work. One of the first things you learn is
I would catch somebody with
see,
something.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, the first thing you learn is before you cast, look in all directions to make sure no one's around you. Rob starts slinging rods left and right. You got a hook in your jaw,
True.
in your butt.
That
Rob's
would,
like
man,
one of the
you know what
dudes
I
that
would
duck
do?
like this, man.
I would
What?
just sit there and maybe have a couple cocktails. I would have a couple beers and
Well,
cheer
you
guys
could
on.
definitely fish with us unless it's if the bite picks up. If the bite picks up, there's no way you can sit down and not be fishing, man. You got Cap Tony be like, oh, Rob, we need one more hand. Let's go.
All right.
Let's
All
go.
right.
See,
We
I'm
going
with-
now.
And also,
if called.
I'm
Yes.
with AJB here. Said, did Barrett just call Chester beautiful? Thank you, AJ. Because Barrett missed my whole point when I said I don't understand why they put that beautiful stadium.
Oh, you talking
in
about
that
the
particular
area?
area.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you gotta
Hey,
go
let
through.
me tell you.
You gotta go through Vietnam to get there.
Hey, let me tell you
definitely
something.
gotta do that.
When I drive through there, I'm down behind the wheel like this. I'm rolling, Jack. I put it in the second gear. I ain't
I
messing
don't
around over
know all the logistics. Maybe it was a tax break. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the
there. Yeah.
reasoning was. I don't know. But I do know this. I give props to whoever designed it because it
Oh,
is,
no question.
Whoa, good. Really.
But I
good.
don't like the one way in, one way out, man. It's like
Yeah.
if you're late, you
Mhm.
miss the whole first half of the
Yeah,
game.
you gotta go early. You go
Yeah.
early.
Oh, my
But it's so
goodness.
nice though. It's nice. I mean, I like the view and everything, right
I
down
do
there
too.
in that area.
I do too.
But hey,
Oh,
look
sure.
at this though. Hey, I'm gonna tell everybody this. If you have loved ones down there in that Tampa area, my guy Tad.
Oh, yeah.
He's down there, and they didn't have to evacuate right now. It took a turn, so it's not really hitting Tampa Bay right now, that area.
Right.
But it's a category 4, so everybody,
Yes.
what I'm saying, stay prayed up for everybody that's down in Florida
Yeah.
right now, and
Yeah.
whoever's on
Glad
that
you brought
path
that up.
going up, man.
Yeah, and for folks who can't, and I understand that some people don't have options to go elsewhere. Yeah,
Right,
hunker
right.
down and please be careful.
Yes,
it's
for
just
sure, for sure.
it is just it's gonna be rough, man.
Yeah,
This
and
is
it's,
no
and,
joke.
it's coming up the coast. They don't know
Yeah.
how severe
Yeah,
it's going to be.
yes,
The
yes.
Carolinas, Virginia, and
Yeah.
even Delaware and Philly.
Yeah, we're
area
gonna get
is
it. We're
some
gonna get it in our
aftermath
area.
of that.
Yeah, we're
Yep.
gonna get it too. We are, Jersey.
Yeah. So
We're gonna get
please.
we'll at least get an aftermath of it. Winds and rain and stuff. It's supposed to be this weekend though.
Yeah.
So yeah, but say
Oh no, not the weekend. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Saturday. Saturday
Yeah.
we're gonna get hit pretty
Man.
hard. I hope. Hopefully, so yeah, these things can tend to change sometimes or whatever.
let's hope they do.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
hope it goes out to sea. You know what I mean? Let's hope.
No
it
You
goes
know,
doubt.
you know, it's funny. Ever since I was in my early 20s, I've always been fascinated by weather to the point when I started having kids and they got older, especially when we were having weather changes here, I'd always send family group texts. Hey, this storm's coming out. And they're like, you missed your calling, Dad. You should have been a meteorologist,
You do got the voice too.
And,
Yeah,
and the
you can
thing
definitely
is,
do it.
the
Yeah.
thing is, most mornings I start my day watching Good Morning Football on the NFL Network.
Mhm.
But whenever there's a major storm, whether it's a snowstorm or a tornado or hurricane, my TV stays on the Weather Channel, and I'm sitting there watching the Weather Channel like I'm watching a game. It's
Right.
like I just get fascinated by this stuff. And you notice the weather severity is getting stronger and stronger every year, more
Yes.
severe every year. The hurricanes, the tornadoes, the
Yeah.
snowstorms. It's like, man. But luckily, we're in an area where, I am. When you guys get in Philadelphia, a lot of times, I only get a small dose of it where I live in Delaware. We
Right.
don't, like once every 2 or 3 years, I get hit with a decent one. And by decent one, it's like 6-7 inches of snow.
Mhm.
When I lived in Pittsburgh, that was a light dusting, man. You don't get a foot of snow in Pittsburgh. It don't mean nothing. Nobody bats an eye.
No,
Same way in
not-
Wisconsin.
yeah.
When I Wisconsin, a foot of snow is nothing in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But when you start talking 2-3 feet of snow, that's a backbreaker right there.
No
bro.
doubt.
I can remember I was up in Green Bay, bro, and I'm thinking because I was playing for the Lions. Remember, I was playing for the Lions, and we thought every time it snowed that we're gonna play Green Bay, we're gonna practice outside. So we got like 1.5 foot snow. We having the worst practice ever out in that snow. I mean, we couldn't do everybody jumping off sides. We couldn't see where the lines are. We could barely practice.
Yeah.
Then the next year, I go to Green Bay. And I can remember being at Green Bay, and it'd be one little snowflake falling down out the sky. And Brett Favre said, take the indoor. In the indoor. The heated indoor. They didn't care if it one little drop of rain. We're at the indoor. They didn't play that, man. Everything was at the indoor. We did not practice out in the elements But everybody around there thought you practiced outside in the elements, but they didn't play that, bro. They didn't play outside.
Well, Barry, you weren't on yesterday, but we had Tom McCarthy on. He's in Chicago, and he was talking about how cold it is right now in Chicago. And I was, because you're on that Lake Michigan coast there.
Oh, yeah.
And that Lake Michigan effect, like, growing up in Wisconsin, that Lake Michigan hawk starts hitting you. I tell people all the time, here's what cold is. Cold is when you have a snow gear on and the wind's so strong or so cold, it hits you on the butt and you think somebody's trying to pickpocket you. That's cold. That's cold right there, brother.
We played, the two coldest place I ever played was in Chicago. It was so cold that, when you did sweat, it would freeze up on your face.
Oh.
But then they should outlaw games on Monday night.
Yeah.
In Green Bay.
Midwest. Yeah.
In Green Bay.
Yeah.
Bro, it was so cold that guys were getting so close to those heaters that looked like jet engines that they were melting their uniforms and their shoes. They would have to get new shoes and they were that close to the heat. It was that bad out there.
But you always gets me is when offensive linemen come out for pregame warm-ups, they got on short sleeve T-shirts.
I don't know how they do it, man.
I don't know how they do it, dude.
It's I almost got cut because of that. That same game we're talking about, I came out there and I had no arms and I wasn't even starting, man. I play a lot, but I wasn't even starting. Well, this particular game is Monday night. We're playing Minnesota. I wasn't playing at all, man. I was freezing, man. My arms were cold. So we went in at halftime. So when we went out there, it was 7 degrees. Came back out in halftime, it was -12. So I came out there with sleeves on. Coach Bechtel, he got so mad at me. He's like, get your sleeves off, dude. I'm like this. So I cut my sleeves. I'm mad. I said, hey, Coach, now you go take that jacket off. You got me out there with no sleeves. You take that jacket off.
Oh, I love it.
He didn't like that too
Man.
much.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Why are you such a rebel, man?
I'm
You're always a
not, man.
rebel.
I'm not, man. But
Why can't you just go with the grain? Why do you have to be so different?
I can't
You
even
need to
blame
be
it on
more
you.
like-
I didn't know you back there, so I can't even blame it on you, man.
You need to be more like me, Barrett. I'm in a different place now.
Yeah,
You're in
right.
a different place.
Yes.
Until the
all-
Packers lose again.
Hey, it's all a facade, everybody. It's all a facade.
I'm in a different place.
Yeah, sure you are.
I love you all. I just want you to know that.
Right.
All right. Well, the place we're going to be when we get back, we're going to dig into the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll tell you what Doug Peterson had to say about his return here, about the statue that's up of him and Nick Foles as well. We'll get some rankings where they fall, where Jacksonville ranks, which is pretty impressive. Some guys who were standing out, some names you may not know about the Jags who are playing well for them. We'll do all of that when we get back. Namaste, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Don't go anywhere. Again, 1 o'clock, Brandon Lee Gouton as well. All right, knowing who to trust with your finances can be scary, right? And I was the front of the line. I didn't know who to trust. I had other people before that did not do the job, and I found the right person. It's Jim Murray from Principal Financial Group. And it could be anything, really. It could be 401k review, insurance review. You have a small business, whatever the case may be. For me, it was rolling over some 401ks into an IRA. Jim helped me with that and some other stuff as well. And he's an unbelievable advisor for, what's hot, what's not, where to go, when to get off something, etc. He does a really good job informing you and educating you on everything you need to know about your finances. Like I said, I've entrusted my IRA, 401k rollovers. You can too. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You can email him as well, Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. sure our prayers were answered. But now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Up, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
right, happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back in, everybody. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Reminder, you can check out any of our interviews at jakibsports.com, as well as unbelievable Eagles content there as well. And you can always go to just JAKIB Sports YouTube Network as well to get the entirety of our show, all of our interviews that we do. We had Tom McCarthy yesterday, Mike Quick yesterday. So check all those out. All right. So interesting, guys. Doug Peterson said today, in anticipation for the game on Sunday, that he has not seen, like in person, the statue that's up of him, of Nick Foles from the Super Bowl. He says he's hoping that he will get a good ovation. He said, but you never quite know. It's interesting. Like, I think a lot of times coaches will be like, I can't worry about that. I'm focused on our team and all that. Doug's been pretty honest with this when he's talked about his return to Philadelphia and how excited he is and how honored he is and all those kind of things. So I think that's pretty cool. Push-ups for Derek Gunn.
I mean, of course he's going to downplay everything. He's going to come in. He's not sleeping. He won't sleep Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
This team. That's why the Eagles better come and play, man, because this team is really, really wanting to, do everything they can to make sure Doug has a good showing there. And when I watch tape on them, they're the real deal, man. They are the real deal.
Yes.
And Lawrence is more than just a, pocket passer. He's a great athlete also. He can run. Yeah. He can do everything that one of the top quarterbacks can do and more. Put it like that. He's the total package, man. So they're going to have to come to play against him. That defense is the real deal. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to try to go out there and really dictate tempo. But one thing, I'll say this. The reason why they're able to heat people up is that they have a lot of trust in their secondary.
Yes.
They trust their secondary so they can keep a man in the box. And when you can keep a man in the box to stop the run, that's why they're so high at number one against the run. But I doubt seriously they'll be able to keep a man in the box for this offense. You won't be able to keep a man in the box. You're gonna have to cover these guys.
They're so young. I don't think they're old enough to be afraid of anything.
Right. That's exactly.
They don't know any better. Yeah.
No, they're all given a chance, and it's come together. When you've had back-to-back impressive showings like they had against the Colts, who, by the way, held Kansas City to 17 points. And then you hold, and I understand Justin Herbert's hurt, but you put up 38 points on a pretty good Chargers defense. You've held the Colts and the Chargers back-to-back weeks to a grand total of 10 points. That's saying something. That's making a statement, you know.
Yes, sir.
I thought Jacksonville was at least a year away from being what Doug Peterson wanted them to be. Oh, no. That coaching staff has done a tremendous job. Look how young they are on defense. Mm-hmm. And I jokingly said on my podcast last night, Gun on One, I had Adam Kaplan on, and I jokingly said, I'm looking at this kid, Devin Lloyd, as the Michael Parsons of the AFC.
Yep.
This kid is everywhere. Now, they play a 3-4 front, but this kid is not a stationary target. He is everywhere. And sideline to sideline, their 4 linebackers are as fast as any quartet of linebackers in the game right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, they move. They hit. They don't miss many tackles. They hit. They're aggressive. Their defensive front it gets pushed. Now, that's going to be interesting to see because we brought it up last week or earlier in the week about how the Eagles' interior from the center to the 2 guards were getting worked over by Washington's 2 D tackles. It's going to be interesting to see because two of Jacksonville's defensive front guys go 320 and 318. Now, the other end is 298, but he's lightning fast. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I know Jeff Stoutland has brought this up in the film session about his guard play from last game. I want to see how much they improved. You know, Lane Johnson told us on the postgame show after that first game against Detroit, they got chewed out for 8 days leading up to the Minnesota game.
Yep.
And they played a much better game against Minnesota.
Oh, big time.
Now, I want to see how the guards play against this defensive front because it's not just the defensive front. They're coming. They're coming. They blitz almost as much as Detroit. They're coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're aggressive.
They look just like the Giants.
Yeah,
they look like the Giants defense. They're always bringing somebody from somewhere, and they can disguise it because they don't use Walker as necessarily a defensive lineman. He drops a lot. He's like a Hassan Reddick, but bigger.
He can cover.
Yeah, he can cover too, though. He can cover also. You know what I'm saying? But they have him legitimately as a guy that can come off the edge, and they play a lot of 50 front. You know, a lot of bare front. Yeah. With 3 interior D linemen and then 2 outside guys. They play a lot of that. That's why you can't run on them either. But I mean, I know they have their work cut out for them, but I still think the Eagles are the better team.
Yeah, I mean,
I
agree. I agree, and they're home, right? I mean, so it's a game that you should, win. And but you guys are right. This is not. I think before the season started, we all looked at it like, all right, that's an automatic. Boom, check it.
Yeah,
not an automatic, not by any stretch. Let me give you some numbers here, guys. Team wise, they're really impressive. So they're 7th in scoring. They average 28 points per game. They're 10th in rushing, 123.3 per game. They're 10th in passing. So they're in the top 10 in everything across the board offensively. But defensively, they're 5th in points allowed, just 12.7. They're giving up just 55 yards on the ground per game, number 1 in the NFL so far.
Yep.
You can get them in the passing game. They're giving up 257.7, which is 21st. Their safety play, Barrett, I like their corners. I don't love their safeties. I think their safeties are a little susceptible. So let me give you guys nailed the 2 guys. Devin Lloyd's been unbelievable. 24 tackles, 2 interceptions so far. Beast. Okay. Trayvon Walker has played very well for them. He's got 8 tackles, a sack, and interception. But the other guy to keep your eye on is Josh Allen. And I don't mean the Bills quarterback. This dude, he had 10 pressures by himself last week.
Jeez.
So, I mean, he's getting home. He's number 41 when you're watching the game. Listen to the size. This is like Trotter-like size. He's 6'5", 262. He's a big cat running around. He's listed as a linebacker, but he does a lot of different things for them.
Well, he was a number 1 pick and he came out in the draft. I remember when he was at Kentucky. I mean, he was probably the third linebacker drafted, 3rd or 4th linebacker. I think, during his draft. He was pretty good, man. He's now finally starting. See what it is? This team is full of first round. They've been bad for so long. It's just a bunch of first rounders on that team.
Yes.
They got like 6 or 7 of their first rounders they kept. You know what I'm saying? They're just now starting to turn the corner and become good. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a big thing of why this team is so good because they have guys that have been there so long.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just saying, so when you have that many first rounders and a bunch of second rounders that are still there, like, Cam Robinson, their left tackle, he was a second rounder, supposed to have been a first rounder. He's still there. They have guys that, just suffered through all the, bad years, and now they're starting to turn the corner as far as being good players now.
Well, they also went out and they spent the right money. They brought in Brandon Sheriff, who's a great right tackle. The problem with him was from Washington. He couldn't stay healthy. And then you got Jawan Taylor playing next to him at right tackle. Their offensive line is really good. And you look at the draft they had just this
second
year.
Rounders.
Yes, they had 2 first-round picks this year, and both of them are playing lights out already. And Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd.
Yep.
So they've made a lot of, and Christian Kirk. Now we all laughed at Christian Kirk getting that kind of money. He was an afterthought in Arizona. He's emerged as one of the top pass catchers in the game now. Mm-hmm. So the money they spent was well worth it to help turn this thing around.
I see him as a team that they probably are a year away, but their division is worse than the Eagles' division.
Right.
Like the Titans suck. The Colts suck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they're looking like the best team in the division. Houston,
very much so.
Houston sucks.
Yep.
So they'll probably make it to the playoffs this year. So when you look at, like, I thought Nick Sirianni would have had a good case for being coach of the year this year, but it's probably going to be Doug because his first year there, he's probably going to make it to the playoffs just by default from the division being so bad.
So let me ask you both this then. Is this the proverbial trap game? Because the Eagles started out with 3 NFC opponents. And, of course, the third opponent was a division, the first division game. Now you got an AFC team coming in here. Could this be that proverbial trap game?
You know what? Can I go first? You might go first?
Yeah, go ahead, Barry.
I'm not saying it's a trap game. If they lose, they were beat because Jacksonville was better. It's not like they're going to take this team any lighter than any other team. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I can say about Coach Sirianni and the way these guys prepare. They have so much stuff that they need to do better that, they can't afford to be looking past anybody. Mm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, who's the next opponent? The Cardinals, I think?
Yes. Then the Cowboys.
So they're not looking past Jacksonville to get to the Cardinals. They're definitely not doing that. What they are doing is understanding, look, we really messed up in this game against Washington last week. Seumalo got whipped. Dickerson, when he was in there, he was hurt. But, you look at, Opeta got whooped. And also, what's his name? Jordan Mailata gave up a sack, even though, he ran a horn. He still gave up a sack. So they got a lot to prove right there. In the second half, they're talking all this stuff about second half. They're going to have to score points in this second half.
Yeah.
This is going to be a must for them because they just, this Jaguar team has showed the propensity to be a very good 4-quarter team. So, I mean, this will be their biggest test thus far. Their biggest test.
I agree with everything Barrett said, Derek. I don't think it's a look ahead in this sense. One, because it's Doug coming back. There's such an emotional pitch.
Yep.
Like, so many of these guys played for him. I can't see them in any way, shape, or form looking past this team. And the other thing is, Jacksonville. Well, I think a couple things. If it was Dallas next week, maybe.
Yes. Maybe.
But Dallas is 2 weeks away. And if Jacksonville was 1-2 or 0-3, then I think you overlook them. A lot of people, not just us, are talking about Jacksonville in this start.
They just whooped the Chargers.
Yeah, they just put it on the Chargers, right? So I think that the antenna's up on this team. Like, I think that some fans may be sleeping on Jacksonville, but I really don't think the Eagles players are. I don't. Everything Barrett just laid out too. If you're a coach, you can use these second halves. You could say, guys, we haven't scored in 5 quarters in the second half. Like, you kidding me?
Right.
And just beat that into their heads all week.
The last time we scored a point was in the first half of last week's game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Come on.
Well, in the second half, yeah. But no, right on. So I think for all those reasons, Derek, you could use all that to your advantage if you're Nick Sirianni.
I'm looking at their stats against the Chargers. Now, obviously, Justin Herbert's playing with banged up rib cartilage. I get that. And then Bosa went down also. But that Chargers defense is pretty good. They put up 413 yards of offense on that Chargers defense. They had 151 yards rushing against this Chargers defense. They got to the red zone 6 times. Now, they only converted. They were 3 of 6 in the red zone. But here's the big stat. They're not just this quick strike team. They had the ball 38 minutes, 27 seconds against this Chargers defense. They were 8 for 15 on third down conversions, 2 for 3. On fourth down, they ran 75 plays. Now, if they control the clock against this Eagles team, this is going to make this an interesting game from start to finish.
Agreed. Hey, you guys will love this. So Nick today, before practice, showed the team a video of Tiger Woods when he was at the top of his game.
Yeah.
Basically, the line of thinking was he's still obsessed with getting better. He's just playing he was playing his best golf at the time. So
great message.
Nick's not afraid to pull that stuff out. But you guys mentioned, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, Trevor Lawrence. How about Trevor Lawrence? 77 for 111, 772 yards. He's completing 69.4% of his passes, 6 TDs, 1 interception. He's only been sacked twice.
I know. 2 times he's been sacked.
103.1 passer rating. And I'll tell you the other guy to keep your eye on. This James Robinson, man.
Yes.
230 rushing yards, 4.5 yards per carry.
Yes.
ETN was the bigger name, but, and ETN's solid, but Robinson's the feature guy.
He's like a little bit bigger version. And when I say bigger, I'm talking about strength-wise than DeAndre Swift.
Yep.
And he can step. He gets an open space. You see him break off that 50-yard run last week?
Yeah.
Once he gets an open space, he can flat out go. So they better ramp up. There better not be any shoddy tackling against this team because they'll hurt you. They will hurt you. They're young. And like I said, they're too young to be afraid. They're just out here having fun. And those 2 games they won in the span of 7 days against the Colts and the Chargers, you don't think that's momentum, confidence building for them?
Yeah.
You kidding me? And they're playing for a coach who knows what it takes to get to a Super Bowl and win it?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, the storyline for this game is great.
Guys, he'll never say this publicly, but I'm sure Doug feels wronged that he was shown the door. I'm sure he's not happy about that.
I agree.
And don't think that didn't come up in conversations with his present team.
I agree 100%.
Bro.
Yeah, there's motivation there.
There's huge motivation. And, I mean, their receiving core, man. You talking about the running game? Their receiving core. Jones and Kurt.
Which one? Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones and Zay Jones. Marvin Jones has new life. This dude's playing.
He left Detroit.
He left Detroit. He's got new life down in Jacksonville. My goodness.
I can't wait.
And here's the thing that's going to be interesting. Evan Ingram is still a good ball player. They're tight end.
Yeah.
Yes.
His problem with the Giants, he couldn't stay healthy, but Evan Ingram is balling down there in Jacksonville.
No, big time, man. Yeah. So if you look at their path so far, the last 2 weeks, somehow they lost to Washington. I don't know what was going on there, but they lost in Washington 28-22. They beat the Colts 24-0 at home, and they beat the Chargers last week 38-10 in LA. They were able to do that. So, they come in feeling pretty good about themselves, and they're an interesting mix. I also think that it was such a disaster last year that there was nowhere to go but up. But the other thing I think they have a great advantage is Doug's used to fixing things pretty quick. I mean, if you ever remember his first year, the Eagles were 7-9 when he takes over after, the chip thing, really kind of fizzled out. And then the next year they win a Super Bowl. The next year he wins a playoff game. Yeah, that's a pretty good first 3 years with an organization.
Yeah, absolutely. That team's so young. That team is so new. They got a breath of fresh air. They didn't know what they had in the coach they had last year. I mean, who is this dude? This dude, instead of going home with the team, he goes and parties at his bar or
restaurant. Yeah, in Ohio.
In Columbus.
And kicking it with his Jones.
Kicking it with his Jones?
Yeah, he kicking it with his Jones instead of flying backwards. So, they were already a mess. But this team runs the ball, and when you run the ball, you can travel.
But then you catch him. If somebody catches him rubbing some woman's backside while he's sitting in a bar, and I'm like, and she's rubbing up against him, and I'm like, can you imagine what his wife must be thinking, embarrassed like this nationally?
Young John too, so
yeah.
You can't be with your Johns, dog.
But dude, you don't take the plane back with the team, and that's what you're.
That was already out of order right there. I've heard players do that. I've seen players do that, but I've
He straight up stole money. He stole. He put a mask on and stole.
And still getting paid.
Got him.
He thought he could just go in there and pull the crap that he pulls in college, man. I mean, it's that simple. You look at he left every place under shady circumstance. He won all the time, but everywhere he left, it was some bogus health claim something else was going on. And you watch, he'll sit this year out and get paid by Fox Sports, and he will be hired somewhere. Nebraska or somebody else will hire him. Mark my words.
He's still getting paid by Jacksonville.
Yeah, I don't think Nebraska will. Those people up there, they don't play that.
They're
I don't think he'll go to Nebraska. Yeah.
Huh?
Somebody will.
No, you know where he'll go? He'll go to a college team that's on the cusp of being better. They have a good nucleus, but just don't have the coaching staff to make them a better team.
Somebody like Kansas.
Or somewhere like.
Although they're doing well this year.
Well, look at Matt Rule. When Matt Rule went to Baylor, they were a good team. He took them to another level when he was there.
Yep. I just don't see. I don't see him going, anywhere like
Urban Jones.
Urban.
That's a great line.
That's pretty good. Man.
Come on, man. Urban Jones.
Good job, Vlad. Yeah, that was good.
Oh my goodness.
But just getting back on Doug and this Jaguar team. I tell you what, man, I love watching disciplined football. Yeah, I love teams that cross their T's and down. Like, I don't need the big shot plays. I like being fundamentally sound and understanding how you can move the ball, even though your opponent may be better than you. It's all about being fundamentally sound. Anytime you have somebody like that, you win, man. You can win. And Doug has those guys playing fundamentally sound. They tackle well. They hit their gap. Their gap discipline is great. How this kid is getting the ball out quick. He's not holding the ball. He's getting it out of his hands quick. The receivers understand he's got to get it out quick, so they're making a move and being very direct in what they're doing. They don't make a lot of mistakes as far as a lot of flags. Those are all things from a sign of a good team, and Doug has his team going in the right direction with that.
How do you guys – go ahead, Derek. I mean, I want to have an existential question for you guys, but go ahead.
How do you spell that, by the way?
What?
Existential. How do you spell it?
EXIS.
Anyway, getting back to my peaceful aura. Here's one stat we didn't even bring up.
Yeah.
They are tied for the league lead in forcing turnovers with 8. They have 6 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries. Their turnover, and they've only turned the ball over 1 time this season.
That's smart football. They're playing. That's a well-coached team, right there.
Yeah, man.
And Mike Caldwell, props. Mike Caldwell, former Eagle, is their defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he'll be a head coach somewhere real soon.
Absolutely.
What do they call him, Zeke?
Yeah. The thing about Mike Caldwell, when he played football with the Eagles, he was the quietest guy you ever wanted to meet. Always smiling, didn't say a whole lot, engaging to everybody. I never thought he would emerge to where he is now. He's one of the leading defensive coordinators in the game now.
Yeah.
He's always thinking, always calculating. He has taken his coaching game to a level that his playing game never reached.
Right.
And you're right. He's going to be in line to get another you know what? Hopefully, because Eric Bieniemy should have been a head coach a long time ago. He can't barely get a sniff in interviews.
Yeah.
Which blows me away. People like Cliff Kingsbury can get a head coach. I don't know, dude. Maybe he doesn't interview well. I don't know. But his track record speaks for itself in Kansas City. When you look at the creativity, we always talk about teams are looking for the next great offensive mind since this is an offensive-minded game. Eric Bieniemy is one of the best offensive minds in the game. He can barely get a sniff in interviews.
I agree.
But people like Cliff Kingsbury quit a job at USC to take a job at Arizona. What has he done since he's been there?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fair enough. No. All right. Question regarding Doug.
Yeah.
When he left here, I felt like he was prematurely shown the door.
Yes.
In hindsight, knowing what the Eagles are doing now, and Doug's obviously doing his thing. He's doing real well. But did the Eagles do the right thing in hindsight? Was it time for both parties to part ways?
Yes.
Doug wanted more say-so in certain things. The organization wasn't willing to give it to him. Doug said, look, I've won you a Super Bowl. I've earned the right to do certain things. Didn't work out. It was time to part ways. It was amicable. It shouldn't have happened, but it is what it is. And Doug knew he was going to get back in the game. You know, that winning that Super Bowl gave him a carte blanche to where he knew. Well, he took a year off because his brother was ill and his brother died from a bout with cancer, I believe.
Yep.
He had more time to spend with his family. He was still getting paid by the organization. So he took time to breathe. You knew Doug Peterson wasn't going to stay out of football long. Doug Peterson is a lifelong footballer. Okay. You knew he was going to get back. He just waited for the right moment. And boy, could he not have picked a better place to go to. A warm weather environment. You know, the city of Jacksonville, I think we all agree on that. We've been to Jacksonville.
Yep.
But in terms of, he walked in there, he's the Pied Piper of Jacksonville. In one season, he's the Pied Piper of Jacksonville. That team wants another winner. They haven't had a winning team since the days of Mark Brunell.
Yeah, Tom Coughlin.
Think about it.
Yeah,
Tom Coughlin. Think about it.
Yeah.
So Doug Peterson getting off to this 2-1 start has already made him the Pied Piper of Jacksonville. For a football fan base that's starving for respectability and pride. He's giving it to him. Yeah. So I'm not surprised Doug Peterson's back in football after 1 year.
Good hire, man. Really good hire. You know, and I think also, I'm not saying Chip Kelly was Urban Meyer with all the nonsense off the field. I'm not saying that, but his personality was kind of abrasive and rubbed people the wrong way, right? So Doug comes in and he has a track record of kind of just calming the waters and getting things right, and that's what he did when he was here. And I think you needed a guy who was going to come in and just sort of chill everything out a little bit and bring people together, and that's what Doug is more of a uniter. And not only that, he's got the chops. The guy won a Super Bowl. So it was a really good hire by John. They haven't made a lot of good moves lately, but that was one.
When the Eagles hired Doug Peterson during that first season, I would ask people, players, front office people, hey, what's it like having Doug here? In unison, everybody, oh my goodness, it's such a breath of fresh air in terms of people in the front office being able to talk to him. He was just like gracious to everybody compared to what Chip was. Chip was standoffish.
Yeah.
Chip would walk past people down the hall, wouldn't even look at them, a lot of times. Chip alienated ex-players in that organization like Harold Carmichael and Mike Quick, okay? So you bring in a Doug Peterson who's just happy to be a head coach, and you talk about a complete turnaround. It's the same thing down in Jacksonville. They went through the ogre of Urban Meyer, who people couldn't get close to. Dude, walking around kicking people. not taking a plane back.
I really wish that kicker would have just kicked him right back. I really do. Right in his nuts. Right in the jewels, man.
Even his coaches hated working with him.
I'd have been done, bro. My NFL career. I mean, if it had been my third year, that just means I wouldn't have been a vested veteran. I would have made it, because you got to get into your fourth year to be a vested veteran.
That would have been it. You would have been.
If he'd have kicked me in the third, if he kicked me in my third year, that'd be my last year. I'd have beat the tar out of him. I'd have beat him like he stole something. Yeah. You'd have been reading about me. We had this paper called The World back in St. Louis. You'd have been reading me about in the world how I killed somebody, because I'm around all my peers, and this is a coach in front of everybody. There's media there and everybody, and my mama would have heard about them kicking me. My mama would have heard about
he did it to a kicker. He didn't do it to an
offensive defensive line. He knew better.
Is that a coincidence? I think not. Okay.
He knew better. If he'd have kicked me, I'd have canceled this Christmas. I'd have still been beating on him.
He kicked that dude like nightmares. He kicked that dude like he was Jan Stenerud. Like, man, I wish you would have kicked me. Yeah, kick. What? You got Tourette syndrome or what? Something wrong with you?
Oh my God!
It'd have been just my luck, because I'd have sued him. I wouldn't need to play anymore. Yeah, but I'd have beat him. I'd have beat him like I'm telling you,
he stole something. Yeah. All right, we're coming back. Brandon Lee Gouton from Bleeding Green is going to be joining us. We'll get his take on what's going on with the Birds, preview the Jags as well. Don't go anywhere. We keep it rolling with the Eagles and the football talk a little later. We'll do some NFL stuff. We'll get some rankings. We're getting to buying and selling. We didn't get to that. We'll get to that in the NFL segment. We'll do that as well. Don't go anywhere. D. Gunn, B. Brooks, R. Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk Pro Action Restoration. Yes, Pro Action Restoration is the place you call or reach out to if your home, your business, your property has any kind of water, fire, smoke, or mold damage, or any kind of problems, leaks, whatnot. Pro Action is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I went through it. I had water damage in my parents' basement. I called them on a Saturday. They got over there. They plugged up the problem. They cleaned it up. The price was reasonable. The crew was great. And they were just unbelievable. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured, and they've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So it could be any of the above: water, fire, smoke, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or you can reach out online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Up, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Welcome back in, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. We have a giggling Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. What are you doing? What are you up to over there?
I'm just happy today. Can't I just be happy if I want to be happy?
You're up to something.
Is there a catch to it? Yeah.
You're up to something.
Why can't I just be happy? Why is there always a catch to it? Why?
Well, I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I'm just in a good mood. Can I be in a good mood?
I know one reason.
I don't know.
Why
Can
you're
you?
in a good mood.
Why, Rob? Why?
Because we have Brandon Lee Galton joining us.
That's
he
true.
is the
That is
manager and editor-in-chief of Bleeding Green, of course, the co-founder of BGN Radio as well. Brandon, see what you do, man. When you come on the show, all of a sudden Gunner's Mr. Chippy, happy, laughing, enjoying himself guy. He doesn't do that with us.
I knew that was the real reason why he was excited and happy. So I'm glad I can brighten everyone's day.
I'm in a different place, Brandon. They just won't let me be happy. They keep trying to bring me down to their swamp level.
He misses seeing you on a daily basis, Brandon.
Of course.
Yes. So I'll start with this a very sort of generic question. Are you surprised the Eagles are this good?
I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, from a standpoint of, I think we all realize they'd be, an above average team, optimistic outlook. But I think anyone's kind of lying if they thought Jalen Hurts was definitely going to be like the MVP or like a strong MVP candidate through 3 games, and that the defense would tighten up, especially after how it was kind of not the best in week 1. So am I surprised they're good? No. Am I surprised they're this good? Yeah, I am.
Well, looking at Jacksonville and their way in, and they kind of turned the corner also with Coach being there now. How do you think he'll be welcomed into this area, into the ring?
I mean, it better be like a standing ovation. It better be. I mean, I don't. What's the reason to boo Doug Peterson? Because you're
right.
You're mad about how 2020 went. I mean, can't we all realize by now, like, he was not the main culprit there? And even if he was, like, he didn't want to leave. It wasn't like this isn't a Carson Wentz situation. He didn't ask out. He wanted to stay. He wanted it his way. And the Eagles didn't want to do that. And they even said at the time when they fired Doug that it wasn't a reflection on him as much as they just wanted to go in a different direction. So I'd be really disappointed if anyone booed him.
Okay. I'll ask you, Brandon. I just hit Derek and Barrett with this, but in hindsight, like, I thought he got, shown the door a little too early, personally. In hindsight, do you think it was the right move by the Eagles?
I mean, I think it's clearly working out for them, or at least so far. I think that my whole thing about that season and at the end of things there was Doug was taking a disproportionate amount of blame. Not to say he was blameless. Obviously, Doug played a role in that team being really bad. And I'm not saying he was without any fault, but I think he got so much heat. And at the time, there were still people being like, we can fix Carson Wentz. Just needs a new coach. Doug broke him. I think that looks very silly now, especially what's transpired with Carson Wentz and with what's going on in Jacksonville so far with Doug being really good.
Hey, Brandon, this team has been so good in 2 phases of the game lately, offense, defense, but special teams is a mess. What do you do with the special team scenario? The return game, the coverage games, nothing's really working for them.
Yeah, it's almost like, what can you do? For as good as an offseason, great as an offseason, even as Howie Roseman had, didn't really add much at returner that you feel good about. The punter might be an issue. They had 2 touchbacks last week that were like, one was like from Washington's 49, the other was like the 43 or so. I don't know how much you can really, fix those things when the personnel's probably going to be the same. I would like to see Devontae Smith you probably can't use him full time, but I definitely would like to see him a little bit more than never back on those punt returns, because I do think he can be effective there. But that's not ideal for a guy you're relying on so heavily in offense.
Brandon, you mentioned Jalen Hurts, and it's almost like, we're digging into everything else because we're just kind of used to it at this point. But he's had an amazing start here, man. For you, biggest area of improvement from him?
I mean, it's the most important area, which I think is just, as a passer on the whole, in terms of accuracy, in terms of reading the field, seeing the field, knowing where to go with the ball constantly. He's always been pretty good at avoiding turnovers, but I mean, he only has 1 turnover this season, and that was on a tipped pass on a play where I thought Kenny Gainwell could have caught that pass. So, he's just been great, really, in every phase. I think we've seen different things from him each week. Week 1, it was all about avoiding pressure and taking off running and being a weapon with his legs. There's kind of question, all right, how much is that sustainable? He goes out against the Vikings, and he was making and attempting passes at a high level that I'd never really even seen from him before. And then against Washington, it's all about the big play. He's airing it out. What I liked from him in that game most recently was that, unlike Carson Wentz, who I think struggled with this at times, he gave his receivers chances to make plays on the ball. And to their credit, they helped him out, and they did, both Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. So he's kind of checking every box here.
How much credit do you give the OC Shane Steichen or, the head coach, in as far as his development? Who do you give the most props to in him being what he is right now?
I would give the most props to Jalen Hurts himself. He's obviously, we all know he grinds. But yeah, I think, and Brian Johnson too. I think, you talk about guys who are going to be, in position to get hired elsewhere. Certainly, I think Brian Johnson, the Eagles quarterbacks coach, who was really impressive when we heard from him in training camp, by the way. I think he definitely deserves a lot of credit. He worked with Dak Prescott back at in Mississippi State in college. So, he kind of has a track record here. He's building a track record of, working with quarterbacks and having success. So I think it all goes into it. Shane Steichen's play calling, I think, has been pretty good for the most part. Sirianni's ability to defer, and obviously he still has a process in the play calling scheme. They coordinate going into a game. So credit all around, but I would start with Jalen Hurts.
I would go so far as to say if Steichen continues on this course, I think he may get a head coaching job before Jonathan Gannon does if this continues.
It's crazy, but conceivably the Eagles could lose both their offensive and defensive coordinator in one offseason again, and maybe the quarterback's coach too. There's going to be a lot of people coming for the Eagles coaching staff if they continue like this.
Brandon, I'll tell you, offensively, they just present so many problems. I mean, when you have those two guys on the outside, when you have Dallas Goedert, when you have the potential of a running game, which wasn't great last week, but you have the potential of that running game. I don't really know what area you look to take away. I guess you probably go the Detroit route and just blitz the hell out of them. I mean, what do you think Jacksonville's approach is going to be this week?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think there's an ideal answer to your point. I do think it's a good point by you, Rob, about the run game being surprisingly disappointing against Washington, where Washington was allowing 7.5 yards per carry heading into last week, and you thought that was going to be an area where they could have success on the ground, and they didn't. I'm not really concerned about the run game long term because the offensive line is good, and we've seen the running backs produce in the past, but it's something to keep an eye on. I don't know how you stop Jalen Hurts right now. Teams have thrown everything at him. They blitzed him. They played Lions blitzed him. Vikings played off. I don't really know what you're supposed to do right now. You can't just take one player away. It's not you can take AJ Brown away because Devontae Smith's going to step up or Dallas Goedert. Even the role players on this team, Quez Watkins didn't show up on the stats sheet against Washington, but he drew 2 pass interference penalties, which were big. Zach Pascal, he got stopped on that 1 4th down carry, but he's valuable as a blocker and a guy who can contribute on a 3rd down, and sometimes in certain situations had a good legal pick. Basically, it didn't actually even contact the receiver on that one Devontae Smith catch and run across the field. So everyone's really contributing at a high level. I don't know. I don't think there is a real answer to stop this team.
Are you concerned with the lack of production? Well, it's not the lack of production, but not scoring in the second half.
I think it's something to put on the radar, but I think when you imagine being a Raiders fan right now, and your biggest problem is you're not totally blowing out teams because you can't score in the second half. You would sign up for that. These are champagne problems, I feel like. So,
right. I like that, champagne problems.
Yeah, not the biggest. I get it, but I think the Eagles have never been in a spot two in these second halves where they've really had to go out and score. They've never been in desperation mode. So, I think they've taken their foot off the gas. And, you'd like to see it get better, sure, but I'm not really worried about it.
Give me your assessment of the way Avonte Maddox has held down that slot corner position. I think as good as that entire secondary has played, I think he's the most aggressive DB that they have, and maybe the most fearless that they have.
I mean, he's 5'9", whatever.
5'9", yeah.
And he's stopping Washington's tight end who's 6'6". Logan Thomas, whatever, 250 at the goal line on a shovel pass, which are that's just an incredible play. I mean, how many times do you see the shovel pass there, especially for Andy Reid, obviously in the past, but that play is so hard to defend. It's just, even if you have really good defenders, that was really impressive. Maddox has been big. I also know he had a pass deflection in this game. He's been huge and underrated too, because we talk about Slay all the time. Bradbury has been a great addition, but Maddox has really been solid there in the slot. And, the Eagles obviously decided to extend him last year, and that's looking like a smart call.
Brand, Reddick gets a sack and a half and was, in on a couple others, looked very active on Sunday. In your estimation, was it just a matter of time? Did they do something different here to kind of get him going? And do you feel like that's a springboard as we go forward here for him to be certainly more of a factor than he was the first 2 games?
I definitely think, when the whole defensive line is feasting, there's obviously some element of the opponents helping you in terms of, Washington was in a tough spot where Sam Cosmi, their starting right tackle, got hurt during the game. Chase Roulier went on IR, leading up to the week. So that offensive line was clearly banged up and then just getting dominated all game long. So I'm not trying to downplay Reddick's performance, but, let's see if he can kind of stack these games at all. One thing that I do believe with him, coming into this year, I believe he had 8 forced fumbles in his career, and he's really good at that. So I think that's something that is real. He's going to be able to maybe not always, even if he's not getting to the quarterback and bringing him down for an actual sack, he's going to be disruptive, and he's going to be able to kind of come around like he did with Wentz there and knock that ball out and create a big play for the defense.
I just want to bring it back to special teams. I just can't get up. You know, I've been asking, you know, where is Michael Clay? You know, what's going on? It was such a decided advantage for the Eagles for so many years when we had, you know, Coach Phipp. He would, you know, flip the you know, yardage. He would pin defenses. He would, you know, put the offense in a better position. We returned. I don't see any of that production. Yes, we have a bomb field goal kicker. Yes, Jake Elliott is great. But after that, I mean, it's abysmal. I mean, there's nothing. They're doing nothing. I feel as though we only have 2/3 of our team. How can we get that 1/3 in the mix again?
I think this falls into champagne problems again when you're I'm not to downplay it. I'm just saying when you're talking about like when your biggest concern is special teams, you're doing decent. But yeah, I don't know because again, it comes back to the
can't trade for anybody.
Yeah, like what are you going to do? Like there's only so much you can do. I mean, Howie, I would say, and one area where the Eagles have been good in season before is their pro personnel department and like kind of finding a guy who shakes free sometimes, who gets cut from somewhere, signing someone off else's practice squad. I guess that would be my answer. I would try to experiment, you know, with some of those spots. And, you know, look, they just called up Britton Covey for the last time in terms of like the amount of
next time they bring him up, he's got to be on the roster.
Exactly. So like I don't know if I would like just stick with him maybe as much as I would tinker a little bit with those bottom of the roster spots, some of those practice squad spots, maybe try to find the right combination, try to find a diamond in the rough. I feel like that's where you kind of need your personnel department to step up during the season.
Sproles, come back.
Yeah, right. Break glass in case of emergency. My annual TJ Edwards question that I like to throw at everybody because the guy has been everywhere so far, Brandon. Is he the one who sort of ascended more than anybody else on that side of the ball? I mean, he was not that he was bad last year. I'm not saying that, but has really taken his game to another level.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, he was great in training camp, and you know, for all the Nakobe Dean hype, and I don't think anything that's happened so far in Nakobe Dean's career is any like indictment on him as much as it's just been a credit to TJ Edwards for not being a player you want to take off the field. And then same thing with Kaiser White, who he had some penalties last week, but I think overall has played well as well. So both of those guys playing well is a big deal. TJ Edwards might be a player the Eagles want to sign to an extension at some point this season if they feel like they can get him at a good number and lock him in as a long-term piece here. Because, I mean, he's been great. He's like a tackling machine out there. He's not the most athletic player. That's the big knock on him, but he is smart and he can kind of know where to be in coverage. So I think he's for a team that's struggled at that position for a long time, he's a really nice player to have.
Hey, Brandon,
they got you know, they got a third rounder, you know, so I don't know if they do that. I mean, he's still got one more year left on his deal, right?
I think I forget. He might be like a restricted free agent after this year or something, but they're getting to a point where they're going to have to make a decision on him soon.
And they usually like to get things done, you know, sooner rather than later. I mean, Howie's that, and because he gets these guys at a cheaper rate if he gets it done sooner. So I'm with you, Brandon. I think that's going to end up happening. So all right, here's where it's at with him. He's guaranteed. He's going to make about $965,000 base salary. I don't know how you read some of this.
Free agent after this year. Yeah, he'll be a free agent.
He's a free agent after this year, basically. Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough.
Hey, Brandon. Hassan Reddick finally had a so-called breakout game against a very porous Washington offensive line, but I'm still not sure they're using him to the best of his ability. How do you think they should best utilize his skill set?
I mean, he better be rushing the passer. We saw, I think, if I'm remembering correctly here, like the one touchdown the Eagles gave up to the Vikings when he was in coverage, and it did not look good. So it's funny because you can look back at the numbers and like, oh, he's only dropping this amount of time. It's like, okay, but like one of those plays could be a scoring play. That's like kind of a big deal still. I get that maybe you have to do it literally more than never for different reasons in terms of trying to trick people. But I think you're overthinking it sometimes when you're trying to trick the offense as opposed to you have a really good talent. You don't need to trick him. Just let him go out and beat the opponent. Like, you know, that's what the best players do in the NFL. It's not about subterfuge. It's just like they're way better than everyone else. And they just dominate. Yeah.
Thank you, Bill. I kept saying everybody, oh, you need to get. No, just line them up out there and say, go hunt. You know what I'm saying? That alleviates all the trying to formulate a way to pass. If he can't pass rush, then he shouldn't be getting paid the money he's paid.
Right.
Let him go out there and rush the passer, period.
Right.
Brandon, let's talk about Nick Sirianni and where he's at now. Second year, last year was a lot of turnover, obviously, but still got the team to the playoffs. We know that he turned over the play calling duties, but there seems to be such a connection. I know today, and you heard it, he was talking about, they played in the video of Tiger Woods when he was in his prime, still hungry, still trying to do his thing. He seems to have a pretty good emotional pitch and an idea how to connect with this group. Maybe it's just him as a leader. Do you get that sense that he's really almost taking it to another level? Now, I know some people want to get on him because he's wearing a Mike Quick jersey, which who cares? But anyway, his players seem to buy in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it fits him. Maybe not every coach can pull that off or be, weirder, but like he's just that's who he's been consistently. Yeah. And I think with Sirianni, my big question about him heading into this season was like, what kind of edge does he bring to the team, especially because he's not calling plays? Like what makes him special? And I think it might be like the culture aspect of everything and keeping this group of guys together and keeping them tight and forming a chemistry that it's early, but that was such a big factor for the 2017 Eagles and part of why they were so good. And it's easy to have that chemistry, obviously, when you're winning and you're dominant like that. But I think those, there's some things that go hand in hand there. And I think so far, so good in terms of on that front. And Sirianni creating kind of a special culture here. The players like each other. They're connecting. There's good vibes, I would say, on the whole. So I think that is something you kind of can give him credit for.
Hey, Braden, how surprised are you that this young Jacksonville team is now becoming one of the teams talked about across the league?
Yeah, I mean, you look at different metrics. They're like second in point differential after blowing out the Chargers. They're second in Football Outsiders DVOA. I mean, it's a legit team. So it was surprising when or at least I thought when the line for this game opened at like 7 points. I think it's
6.5. Yeah,
gone down to 6.5 now. It's a legit team. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in those last 2 games. He's looking like starting to finally show like he's making a leap. Doug Peterson, obviously we know him. He's a really good coach. They've had talent. You have Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, the defensive player. So like there's a lot of pieces down there. It's all kind of coming together, I think. They're tired of losing. They had such a joke of a head coach last year that going to any kind of actual head coach this year is just a huge upgrade. So I buy them to some extent. Now I do think the Chargers game, they benefited from like Justin Herbert being injured, and there's no Keenan Allen or J.C. Jackson, and Joey Bosa got hurt, and Rashawn Slater was hurt, and their starting center was hurt. So like it definitely benefited in week 2 from some of those injuries there. But they're a legit team.
Brandon, looking at the division, we saw the Giants and the Cowboys go on Monday night. Giants got off to the quick start. They lose Monday. Dallas, to their credit, keeping it together without Dak Prescott and of course Washington, who we saw last week. What's your sense of the division here in terms of, is it just strictly a 2-horse race? And how good are the Cowboys? Because that pass rush looked pretty ferocious the other night.
Yeah, I mean, entering Monday Night Football, before the Cowboys played the Eagles and Cowboys, and the Eagles had, coming off a 9-sack game, were tied for the NFL lead in sacks. And that's obviously been surpassed now with the Cowboys racing out to first. And yeah, that pass rush is for real. I mean, obviously Micah Parsons is a problem. DeMarcus Lawrence has been a very good player for years. It's a problem. And I don't really, the Giants are 2-1. They might even be 3-1 because they can very well beat the Bears, who are not good. But I don't buy them at all as a good team by any means. The offensive line is clearly not up to snuff to hang with the big boys. But yeah, that Dallas defense is for real. The offense, we'll see. Dak was not looking good. I'm sure we can all remember before he got hurt. I can only imagine how an injury to his throwing hand is going to make things better. But in the meantime,
that's why I want him to play.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I don't want to see Cooper Rush. I do.
But the defense is a problem.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, the ability to get after quarterback, I imagine they're going to go and we're a couple weeks away from this, but they're going to take the Detroit approach. That's how they win. They do it against anybody.
Yeah,
with that pass rush, that's for sure. Lastly, on this, and I know you were down there in DC, but what kind of disaster area is Carson Wentz at this point, and how much longer does the Washington football team / Commanders stay with him if this still looks like this 3, 4, 5 weeks from now?
I just don't think there's so clearly a ceiling with Carson Wentz, right? Like I bring up the fumble stat all the time, but because it's extremely relevant. He's 69 fumbles in 88 games. Like that is not. It's never going to go away. It's never going to get fixed. So you're always going to have to be like fighting this uphill battle, like where you're like, well, we hope the fumble doesn't come at a time where it's a really bad moment for us, or we hope it bounces the right way.
Because there's so many good times for you to fumble, right? Yeah.
Right. Like that's what you're going into a game knowing he's probably going to fumble at some point. It's like, can we survive the fumble? So like just that alone, it's a deal breaker, and it puts a ceiling on your team. And really, to me, like he should be out of the league, or at least like in terms of I think what his priorities line up with, because I don't see him being happy with being a backup, and I can't see how Washington comes back with him for another season after this year and be like things are going to be different. No, he is what he is, and it's a player that you can beat up on some bad teams. You can go 7-10, 8-9, like around there at the best, but I just don't think that's what you really want.
And how big was the takeover there on Sunday?
Oh, I mean, you had players talking about it. Jalen Hurts, praised the Eagles fans. You saw everyone running out or in the tunnel at the end there. There's always going to be midnight green in that stadium, and I will say it's kind of impressive too from the standpoint of this isn't like late in the season FedEx Field game where Washington fans are already just checked out because the team is terrible. They entered this game 1-1. They have lost to the Lions, obviously, but there's like, okay, maybe we can kind of be decent, and no, just automatically the wind taken out of their sails.
They don't believe, that's for sure. I last thing for me, as far as Doug goes, all cheers.
Again, they better be. There's not a single good reason to boo him at all. I think, in terms of what I think will happen, yes, I do think it'll be cheers.
All right, Brandon. Listen, man, keep up the good work. We love everything you do, all the content you put out. Manager and editor-in-chief, Bleeding Green, of course, BGN Radio as well. Brandon, we appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, you got it. That is Brandon Lee Gouton. All right, so we'll take a timeout, guys. We'll keep it rolling here. We'll get the NFL stuff. We haven't got to buy or sell, okay? We haven't got to our NFC rankings yet as well. All kinds of good stuff. Hey, little update, which I'll give you too. The the Sunday night game. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but the Sunday night game, which we talked about a little bit earlier, all the weather issues that are taking place here, around our country, is Kansas City at Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
If it's too bad Sunday night, they may play the game in Minnesota.
I'm surprised they didn't move it to New Orleans unless New Orleans is playing at home.
Yeah.
Surprised. Played in Minnesota? You may have to.
And that's where they may play it. If, again, we don't know what it's
neutral field.
Probably pretty soon, right? But
the league doesn't want to go through another scenario like 2020 where they had to move all of these games around and stuff like that. They're going to get these games in regardless. And if they move it to Minnesota, will be no fans in the now. Correction, you'll have football fans that will go to the game out of curiosity. It won't be a sellout, but I don't blame them. I'm surprised they will move it that far to the Midwest.
Yeah,
but I don't blame them one bit.
No. I don't either. All right, so let's get a timeout here. We'll come back. We'll continue with the NFL talk. We'll update you on a couple other little odds and ends, Phillies as well. We'll dip into a lot of different
baseball.
things.
Here we go. Yeah.
So don't go anywhere. Barrett, Derek, Rob, Sports Take, Namaste on this Wednesday. All right, let's talk about Flynn Tree Services. Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any problem that you may face. So, you have any type of issues with your tree, in your yard, on your property? If you do, they're just a quick phone call away. They are experts at trimming all types of trees, and they serve southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, and tree pruning. Now, keep in mind, as we just mentioned, we are in hurricane season, right? Which means we're going to get hit with some bad weather. Especially, it's happening down south, but it's headed this way this weekend. Now is a great time to have your trees evaluated. Make sure that if we get strong gusts of wind, heavy rains, etc., that you don't have trees come down, big branches come down. You go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call, 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848. Or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
What up, everybody? What up? How you doing today? I'm glad you're hanging with us. We always like to have a little fun and maybe lighten your day up, distract you from all the real stuff that's going on in life. And we are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. He's Derek Gunn. He's Barrett Brooks. I am Rob Ellis. All right, so let's talk a little Phils, guys. They lose 2-1 to the Cubs last night. They have 9 games left. Their magic number's 7. Now, they got helped because the Brewers lost again. Somehow, some way to the lowly Reds, Derek, your boys.
Yeah, right.
Exactly,
no. They lost to the Cardinals.
I mean the Cardinals, sorry. Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals needed that game to clinch, yeah.
Yeah, mid-state card. I was flipping back and forth between the Phillies, and that game was on the MLB network. The Cardinals and the Brewers. But so they end up losing. They've now lost 3 straight. They lost the last 2 of the Braves series. This one, they've lost 5 straight on the road, 4 in a row overall to the Cubs. You know, this is starting to look like they're 10-12 in September. It's starting to look like a real sort of back-in kind of thing here. You know, and MLB added that 3rd wild card, which is going to allow them to get in. And look, I've been of the stance that just get in. I really don't care. You haven't been in 11 years, just get in. But it's hard to garner a lot of confidence with the way they're playing right now if they do get into the postseason.
But see, that's where I have the problem, you know, because why get in if you're playing this type of ball? It's almost like, you know, all right, you know, almost for not, you know, it's almost like, all right, you get in just to lose the first series right off the top. I mean, maybe, yeah, you say, all right, you know, this puts you in a position where your guys have learned to play in the playoff. They found playoff baseball, so they'll, you know, go in next year and be more like the Eagles are in. All right, we got to do something now. Maybe that type of mentality, but it's just hard for me to say, all right, these guys are going to go in and be, you know, what we're wanting them to be at this point.
Well, the difference was last year you had no expectations of the Eagles getting into the playoffs. And because the league added that 7th spot, that's the only way the Eagles got in the playoffs last year. And you had a bunch of young guys who got, spanked by Tampa Bay, but it was a great learning tool for them. This Phillies team was built to win now. When you look at the way this lineup and the personnel they brought in here, from hitting to pitching, this team was built to win now and to be a factor. But like Rob said, they're going to back their way into the playoffs, and do fans really get excited about a team? Now, we understand injuries have played a significant part to what has happened to this Phillies team. I mean, when you think about the pitchers, the hitting, Castellanos out, Harper's been out for 3 months. Hand has been out. They've had guys up and down just nicked up, tendinitis, all kinds of stuff, broken bone. And they just haven't had a full complement, but they had enough to survive when Harper was out. They were mowing people down when Harper was out. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden in September, when we had Tom McCarthy on yesterday, one of the things that stuck with me was, and we had Tom on at what time? Like 1 something, Rob?
1:30.
Okay. So he tells us a few minutes into our segment that the team had already left that early in the day and we're going out for hitting. And I'm thinking, okay, they're putting in the extra effort. They went out and had 1 run, 5 hits against Chicago, a team that's going nowhere, but a team that's owned them this year, basically. You can only muster 5 hits against Chicago in a situation like this. That's a major problem. And there's been problems again with Chicago.
Yeah. No, there's been far too many of those kind of games lately, right? Where it's kind of very hit or miss with them. And they can't put together, play a little small ball. They can't manufacture runs. It's sort of wait for the big play, if you will, whether it's a home run or Harper hit the double last. The guy almost made an incredible catch diving on the warning track, almost caught it. There's too much of that. But I think that's a problem, but an even bigger problem is the bullpen. And I was thinking about this last night. Honestly, man, the only person that you can trust right now out of everybody is Alvarado.
Yep,
I don't trust Sir Anthony. I certainly don't trust David Robertson.
Wait. Don't give it away yet. No. Because that brings us to the segment that I talked to Rob about in our pre-show meeting.
All right. Yeah, I jumped that a little bit.
Yeah, you jumped the gun.
Apologies.
So I'm going to name some pictures, and let's see how many do I have on my list here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pictures on my list.
Okay.
I'm going to name a pitcher, and you tell me whether you want to keep them or you want to fire them.
All right.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Starting out with Gibson.
Fire him.
Why?
What?
Yes.
Gibson stinks.
Yes. For most of the year, he's been okay as a 5th starter. He's been fine as a 5th starter.
Yes.
Lately, he's killing them.
We're not using him as a starter, though.
Yeah, he's still a starter.
He's still a starter.
Still a starter.
Lately, he not only has been bad, he's been bad and short, meaning he's out of games quick and he's killing the bullpen. He's really hurting them. He's a free agent. He will be gone at the end of the year. He won't be a Philly next year.
All right, gone. Next one. Falter. Now, his last outing, he got rocked by the Braves.
Definitely buying.
Okay.
I'm buying.
Why?
Is that are we doing buy or sell? What are we doing here?
Well, we can do. You know what? I'm going to let you categorize it.
What's it called? Fire. What?
Fire.
Or.
You messed me up. What was it?
Employ, keep.
Yeah, fire or keep.
All right, okay. I'm keeping Falter because here's why. A couple reasons. One, he's pitched well enough. He's just earned it flat out. Like he's really your 4th starter now. Syndergaard's in the bullpen. You can't trust Gibson. He's after Suarez. He's my 4th starter. Or I feel good about him giving me multiple innings out of the bullpen in a playoff setting. He's a lefty who has a delivery where he takes this big leap forward towards the plate, which plays up his fastball, which isn't, at an incredible velocity. I like him, and I think he kind of pitches with a pair too. So I'm definitely keeping Falter.
All right, Bellotti.
Keeping. He's definitely not fireable. I don't love him, but he's keep worthy. He's actually been pretty good this year for them for the most part, and he's. You can use him in a variety of roles. He can give you multiple innings or just 1 inning. So he's a keeper.
Brad Hand.
Fire. Goodbye. All right.
Why, Rob?
Talk to the hand. Okay. He's out of here. He's gone. He hasn't been good. He's not trustworthy. I don't think his stuff is very good. He was okay for a stretch, and it's a shame because they need that left-handed versatility, but he's not that guy. He looks like someone who's on the downside to me, and I don't think he's going to be back at all. I think he's going to be fired.
Your favorite pitcher, Connor Brogdon.
This is a tough one because he's so young still. I'll tell you one thing I don't like. I mention this to you guys all the time about Kyler Murray. Brogdon has terrible body language, terrible. Yeah, he's mopey out there. If things don't go well, he looks like he's checked out, and I don't like that, man. You got to have amnesia as a reliever, and he doesn't have amnesia. I'm going to keep
just like cornerbacks. Like cornerbacks.
Same exact thing. I'm going to keep him, Derek. However, he's on probation. All right, so any little slip up in the company, and my man is going to be ousted.
All right, I'm going to sit up in my chair for this one because I want to hear the answer. David Robertson. He was lights out when he first got here.
He was
3-0.
I know. And they need him so bad because he's the other guy with real closing experience. Like, I would put Alvarado in that role right now, but I understand that Rob Thompson doesn't fully trust him maybe in that situation. I worry about Robertson. He looks tired. The velocity's down on the fastball. He walks the first guy every freaking time he goes into the game, which always comes back to haunt you. He looks just a little bit shot right now. I would keep him for the rest of the year, but he's gone after this year.
Okay.
And I don't fault them for making the move. I thought it was a good move to get him.
Sir Anthony Dominguez.
I'm keeping him. I'm worried about him, but I'm keeping him. I'm bringing him into the office, and I'm closing the door, and I'm saying, hey, man, what's going on here? Because you're not living up to your potential. Are you not healthy? Is it something else? We need more out of you. You're better than this. There's a pep talk involved with this as the boss. I'm going to sit him down.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what he is now. Is he a guy's going to, bridge innings, or is he a legitimate closer now?
He's got closer stuff.
Yeah, he's definitely a closer, Barrett. What he is also is
he hasn't been used that way, though.
No, I know. I think Thompson views it. We talked to Tom McCarthy about this yesterday, and I think Tom was right on when he said this. I think he views it as the most high of leverage situations he's going to throw Sir Anthony. In other words, if in the 8th inning, if you have your 3, 4, 5 hitters, the heart of your order coming up, he would pitch that inning. So he may not necessarily close if that's the situation, but that's a trust job that he has. But I think I will say this. I think if he's about one more bad outing or blown save away from losing that gig to Alvarado.
Now, of the 7 pitchers I just mentioned to you, the majority of them you like to see disappear.
Yes.
So I ask you this question, my friend. Where's Mark Appel?
Mark Appel's hurt.
Oh, he's hurt.
He went back down.
He went to Lehigh.
Yeah, and he had some arm issues. Like, they had to shut him down.
Ah, man. Okay, I was going to say, why not add him to the roster?
Yeah,
because when he was here, he gave him quality innings.
He would have been an option because they're pulling guys off the street now at this point. This is what I worry about, guys. They like, you get past Wheeler pitched well, by the way. We haven't even pointed that out. He pitched great. He went 6 innings, gave up 1 run, and he was very efficient. He probably could have gone another inning. He's looked good. Nola is sort of I don't want to jinx him tonight, but he's dispelling the myth that he can't pitch in September. Ranger's been pretty good for the most part. It's the bullpen and the offense, and this is the things that have bitten them in the rear end the last few years. The offense and the bullpen, and you're right back to square one. They look to me like a really tired team.
Yeah,
that's just the way they feel to me.
Wow.
Right. That's the best way, because there's no enthusiasm for the potential of being in the playoffs. There's no sense of urgency in their game.
Yeah,
not like the Mets and the Braves.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, even our fearless leader right now is not giving us what we've seen him give us.
Yeah.
Anytime Harp isn't going out there and really giving you that flair, it's to me, it's just not an urgency in them going out and accomplishing what they need to accomplish.
Yeah, and I will say with him, with Bryce specifically, he feels like he's just pressing. Like, I think if you think about it from with the mental journey, the guy was playing again like an MVP level and he gets hurt and he's out 2 months, and they play pretty well and actually really make a playoff push. And he's watching this like, oh, it's kind of like a Carson Wentz, like, damn, I want to be out there for this, and then finally he gets back and he has that real good first game. And then I think it hit him like a ton of bricks. And I think he's really pressing, and I think it's in his head,
right?
And he had a couple decent at bats last night. And the one that he had the RBI, he looks like he's a little bit coming out of it, but there's too many others. Like Hoskins is hurting you right now. If you watch Segura's swinging out of his shoes every time. Like he's got to get a better approach. Some of the younger guys like Bohm and Stott may be hitting that wall because they're younger cats. I don't know. I mean, it's just not a good combination right now.
To me, it looks like Segura swinging for the fence every time he goes up there now.
He is.
He's over swinging in a lot of ways instead of being a contact hitter that he was in June and July. Mm-hmm. And it's affecting his productivity. But the bigger concern for me is the top of that order. I mean, Schwarber is not the hitter he was in June, July, and early August. And Hoskins, you don't know what you're going to get from him. One night he goes 4 for 5 and a home run. Next night, he's nowhere to be found. Or the next 2 nights, he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
This is bad mojo for a team that's trying to fend off Milwaukee, trying to catch San Diego, and trying to get mentally and physically ready for a playoff. Because I don't care if it's St. Louis, Atlanta, or the Mets. And we don't know who's going to win at NL East now. Mm-hmm. I don't like them matched up against any one of those three.
Yeah, I don't either. I think all three of those teams are playing far superior baseball to the Phillies right now.
Absolutely.
I just want to swing back to the thing I said earlier. I don't, unless there's guys are really hurt. Like, I don't understand this. You may not get in. I know it's very likely they do because Milwaukee, they also have the tiebreaker against them and all that. But
yep.
You had off Monday. How is Dominguez, Eflin, and Bellotti? How are those three not available? I don't understand it. And I
still don't get that.
I put it on. Look, if a player tells you I can't go, then that's it. That's the end of it. But if there's any question there, and the organization is the one erring on the side of caution, what are you being cautious about? I mean, you may not get in.
They'll have a whole off season
to be cautious,
to get healthy.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
It just bothers me, man. And I know it's going to be like, here we go, old man, whatever, back in my day. But I don't care. I'm sorry, man. You got to go. Now is go time. Whether your arm's hanging off or not, now is go time.
You had Monday off.
I don't like it.
You had Monday off. Your team went out, put in an extra batting session on Tuesday, and you came up way short in a crucial, pivotal game for you, jockeying for a position in the wild card standings. That's a red flag. That game, I think that game last night, outside of Wheeler, because I thought Wheeler was outstanding. Matter of fact, the Cubs helped Wheeler out a lot because they were going up there swinging first pitch. He pitched 6 innings, only threw 62 pitches in 6 innings.
Super efficient. Yeah, he was
super efficient. Did what he had to do. But the rest of your team went out there and played like it was a June game instead of a September meaningful game. And that's been the theme. That's been the theme for the last couple of weeks with this team now.
Yeah, and the last couple of years, Derek. They have had awful Septembers, and they're 10-12 right now. And it's not the stakes are high.
That's the most damning thing right there. That the urgency to go out there and play the best ball you can play. I know that it's not an effort thing, but I see it's more so a focus thing. You gotta turn around and you got to regroup, man. I don't see him regrouping right now.
Yeah, you really need the heavy hitters to step up. You really need Harper. You really need Hoskins, Segura. Those guys, the vets, have to pull their weight. Real Muto's done it, but those guys have to do it. You can't count on the young kids. They need to do it. They need Nola to go out there and deal today. Yeah, plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, he needs to be excellent. And you need to put – I don't care. Look, I know the Cubs have played better lately, but they're done, and you need to – if you want to show that you're a real team, you got to win these kind of games. So, big game tonight.
I like what the pitcher Stroman said after the game last night. If we can go out and be spoilers, great, that's great for us. But if the Phillies get to the playoffs, you know what? Props to them for doing it. But the Cubs' mindset is – we know our season is over, but we're also playing for our futures. We can go out here and play ball, and they're playing like they're a playoff contender right now. I know that next series against Washington, they've owned Washington this year. the way this team's going, I'm not taking anything for granted because Washington is in a worse situation than the Cubs.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of guys that have to prove that they're major leaguers.
Yeah.
So they know this is their stretch run. I don't trust anything with this team right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well said. All right. Let's get to the buy and sell. I like this concept that you came up with, Derek, a little bit earlier.
You like it?
I do like it. And this is in regards to the NFL, and it's teams that we're buying and teams that we're selling. You want to start? Let's start. You want to start sell, and then we'll go positive out of that. We'll spin out of that.
Yeah, let's go sell. Let's go sell.
Sell, yes. What is going on with my daggone Raiders?
All right,
there
you got the floor is yours, man.
The floor is yours,
man.
Mr. Brooks.
Who you selling?
Man. I mean, I'm selling them because how do you go out and you give the highest paid receiver all this money? It's his college, the quarterback's college roommate, and Adams gets 17 receptions. I think it's like 17 receptions.
No, he had 10. He had 10 catches the first game.
Well, so he has 17 targets, 10 catches.
Yep.
Goes into the next 2 games and has less than 16 targets. Less than 16 targets? Are you kidding me?
It's terrible coaching.
Are you kidding? Not just terrible coaching, but lack of awareness by Carr.
Yes.
Carr's throwing it to guys he shouldn't be throwing it to.
Yep.
Even when Adams is kind of open, he's open. When he's covered, he's still open. He's that type of mentality, type of player. Get the ball to him. They can't run the ball. The offensive line sucks. And the biggest thing that drives me, it's driving me to drink, man, is the mere fact that Chandler and the other guy on the other side are not rushing the passer. What the heck is going on? I mean, you're getting nothing from your edge rushers. These are great edge rushers, too. You got Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. Neither one of them are doing anything. They are not rushing they are not generating any pressure on the quarterbacks. That's why they're losing. The strengths that I thought were strengths going in have been null and void on the defensive side of the ball. The guys I thought were consistent, like Adams and Renfro, have been null and void. But when you look at a guy like Backpack Boy, Mac Hollins,
Backpack Boy,
he's making it happen.
He's the leading receiver.
Yeah, he is so mixed up,
Rob,
bro.
what the heck are you doing? What are you doing over there?
Guys, I've done everything. I'm running. I have this thing backed up on my phone. I think the water company is literally like tearing up the sidewalk in front of my house. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know what's going on. I've never had an issue internet-wise. I apologize.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I apologize.
But
Barry, you were in the middle of a great Raider rant too.
Well, I'm done with it now because
it was awesome.
With him.
But
how do you have one of the best tight ends in the league in Waller and you're not using him?
Oh, I know. Like he's doing nothing, Waller.
Nothing.
And you just paid him.
Bear, what have I always told you about Derek Carr? What have I told you my assessment of Derek Carr has always been?
He's the middle of a road quarterback.
There you go. I'm not a big Derek Carr fan. Never have been. He'll put up great numbers one game and it's like, what are you doing? You look at some of the throws he'll make the next game, like, did you practice this week?
Yeah.
But here's something to keep an eye on. Their head coach, Josh McDaniels, has always been considered this great offensive mind, this innovative offensive mind. I go back to his first ever head coaching stint with Denver back in 2009 and 2010. He didn't even make it through the second season. He was fired after 12 games. Yeah, he got fired 12 games into the second season. Okay.
Yeah, you think now what back, he went to his comfort zone. He learned from that experience and all that. But I don't know.
He drafted Tebow. That's what I faulted him when he drafted Tebow in the first round. That's why I faulted him. But now he's got a quarterback. He's got some big time receivers. He's got a big time tight end. Come on, man, give me something.
All right. Did you give anybody else besides the Raiders? Or you
got two more teams.
Denver.
Who else you selling?
Oh, Denver.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? What is going on in Denver?
There you go.
Guys, please let me know. I mean, did the Broncos miss out? I mean, I'm looking for him. Where is Russell Westbrook? I mean, Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson, yeah.
Barrett,
where is Russell Wilson at?
Is he on the downside, or is this just coaching? Like Hackett Hackett's already hired a consultant for the booth to help him with tough decisions. There's a lot going on there, man.
Bro, I'm looking at Russell.
Sailing passes.
Yeah, I'm looking at Russell Wilson. And I understand how he plays, man. I understand that, he's one of those guys that he was best when the pressure was on him. He was running around there, but he had 2 great receivers he could throw to. Well, he has 3 really, really, really good receivers he can throw to, and he's not taking advantage of them. You know what I'm saying? He's not running around frenetically, so now he can't play. He can't run offense. He can't sit back in the pocket and push the ball down the field. Does he have to be running around and whatnot for him to make plays? I mean, I'm not seeing it. I'm so glad we didn't mortgage the farm to get Russell Wilson now.
Yeah, well,
he'd be destroyed here in Philadelphia.
Watson or Wilson. I mean, sometimes the best moves you make are the ones that you don't make.
Exactly. And look at what's going on now with the way Hurts is playing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then my last one, the Titans.
Ooh.
Where are the Titans?
They just had a big win though.
Nobody's remembering them, Barrett.
Nobody remembers that they have the number 1 back in the league, Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a big win, but what about the past 2 wins they had? I mean, the losses they had. So I'm not buying into them, bro.
Okay.
I don't see anything. Right. I don't see them out going as a team that's going to be in the playoffs this year. Okay. This is not a good division leading team anymore. You know what I'm saying? This might be Jacksonville. This might be Jacksonville's team.
Interesting. All right, I'll sell. I'll be next if you want to sell. All right. I'm selling the Patriots. I don't want any parts of this. I didn't like them before the season. I don't like them now. Mac Jones out several weeks. It's Brian Hoyer's team now. There's no weapons. Nothing changes for Hoyer that was already there for Mac Jones. I don't like the setup with the offensive coordinator. Whatever this conglomerate is of Matt Patricia and Joe Judge and Belichick sort of calling plays or whatever, I don't think it's very good. I think he relied a lot on Tom Brady carrying him no matter who he threw out there. And he ain't got Tom Brady anymore. So It is a wake-up call for the hoodie. And I didn't like the Patriots before. I certainly don't like them now without Mac Jones. So I'm selling New England. I'm going to sell the Cardinals. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in Cliff Kingsbury. I don't believe in their defense. I don't believe in Kyler Murray on a consistent basis, minus spectacular plays here and there. I don't like 2 more weeks or whatever they've got, 3 more weeks without DeAndre Hopkins on top of it. I think they're in big trouble. And this is another team I had a really bad vibe going into the season for. And I'm looking now as we do this at what they have coming up schedule-wise. And I'm just seeing at this point at 1 and 2 if they're going to be buried. Now, they at Carolina, kind of a toss-up. The Eagles game is going to be really tough. They have the week after that. They have New Orleans 2 weeks after that. They're at Minnesota the week after that. They're in LA a couple weeks after that. Then they get San Francisco and the Chargers. They could be done by week 13. So I'm not buying them. I'm buying. I'm selling, man. Selling off Arizona. All right. I don't believe in the Giants. I think that Dable's got them on the right path. I do. And I think that Saquon being back is enormous. And there's things to be excited about if you're a Giants fan for sure, but not yet. Daniel Jones is I will actually say he did okay Monday night. He did everything he could. But the offensive line is probably the worst one in the NFL. They're a bunch of turnstiles.
It's not worse than Washington. There's no way.
It's close. It's close, Derek. It is not far off. That dude is going to be in the hospital soon, unfortunately. He's going to be on the on the medical list soon. I just don't think so with them. They have issues at receiver too. Galladay's a mess. That whole thing is not good. I don't like their tight ends. I think they're going to fall off in a big way. I think they're going to end up being like a 6 or 7 win team after a really hot start.
Okay.
So they would be my 3 teams I'm selling.
All right. My 3 teams I'm selling. I'll start with the Raiders for everything that we talked about. I don't need to go into detail. My next team I'm selling is the Saints. I thought the Saints would be much better than they were. Now, I don't know how much the multiple back fractures is affecting Jameis Winston, but the fact that he has 4 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions already through 3 games tells me he's on course to join that 30-30 club that he was an exclusive member of a few years ago.
The only guy in the club.
Yeah.
The only guy in the club. There's too many weapons on both sides of the football for New Orleans to be standing here 1 and 2.
Yep.
Okay.
He's resting today, but he says he's going to try. He's got 6 fractures in his back. Like, how is that going to work?
6
Right.
fractures.
How do you do that?
Yeah. I mean, and now the wide receiving course taking a hit. Jarvis Landry has an ankle issue. Michael Thomas has a foot issue. They didn't practice today. We don't even know if they're going to play this week. The Saints on a course of destruction right now. Alvin Kamara, he can't even get him the ball. I don't understand that. He's your premier weapon on offense. You can't even get him the ball. Main and simple. And my last team, I want to sell Washington for a cheap suit. I would sell them for a bag of White Castle burgers. I'm telling you. Washington, I would, for a box of Barrett Brooks White Castle burgers, I sell Washington for. That team is a mess. If I was the defensive players on that team, I would take the entire offense out behind the woodshed and beat them like a rug, all of them. And I'd start with Carson Wentz. I would run Carson Wentz out of town on the next train, to be honest with you, because he's self-destructive. He holds the ball too long. He doesn't trust what he's saying. In the offensive line, you talk about Washington, the Giants' offensive line. That Washington offensive line, half those guys shouldn't even be in the NFL, to be honest with you.
Yep.
That's how bad they are.
Yeah.
So those are my 3 teams I'm selling.
And it's going to cost Ron Rivera his job, but
it is.
Yep.
They're in big trouble. I agree. Like that's a terrible combination is a bad line and Carson Wentz, the way he goes about his business. Like,
that's the worst. That's the worst mixture of anything, man.
That's just a recipe for total disaster. Yeah.
You can't do anything. Yeah. That means he's holding the ball in an offensive line that can't block in the first place.
Exactly.
And then he has a face that's worse than the Eli face. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he looks like it's not his fault. Mm-hmm. He's held it for 15 seconds.
Yep.
I would dink and dunk with that line. I would be throwing 5-yard passes every time I snapped the ball, swinging it to a back, dumping over the middle. I'd be getting rid of the ball so quick. I would set a new record for releases, for pass release by a quarterback. That's how quick I'd be getting rid of the football if I was Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I would be pounding the run game just to keep it out of his hands, even though you have good weapons on the outside.
Yeah,
that's a one and done. He's going to be on his second one and done team and his 4th team in 3 years after this.
He'll be like Chase Daniels and Tyrod Taylor. He'll be from team to team for the next 8 years.
He will. But I don't even know. I really don't think he wants to be a backup. I think he'll just go live his life. I really don't think it's going to be real long. But we'll see how it shakes out. All right, we'll come back. We'll continue digging into the NFL stuff. We're going to do our NFC power rankings and update you on a couple other odds and ends around.
We still have to do buy. We haven't talked about the teams we buy.
Oh, and we're going to buy. And we're going to buy.
We got to buy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's buy when we get back, and then let's power rank. We're going to buy and power rank.
Sound like a plan. All
right, we'll do that. Derek, Barrett, Rob, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Right back.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. The gun.
Two of us come back on camera eating. The third one is not even in his chair. What is happening?
Song? 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. What is happening?
My God.
Almost choked. I'm eating these pecan turtles. Russell Stover pecan turtles.
Yeah, you almost chew them good,
swallowed
man.
a nut. Mm-hmm. Almost choked for a second. Look, hey,
God.
That's a $5 fine for being late.
That's right. We'll put that to the fund.
Okay.
All right. Put that to the fund. All right, let's buy. Well, Barrett, we'll let you kick it off because you were the first seller. So let's let you begin with teams that you are buying into here as we continue with the buy or sell.
Of course, I'm buying my birds. Of course, I'm buying them.
Yep.
But then I'm not even gonna put them in though.
Right.
I'm buying the Ravens.
Oh,
I'm buying the Ravens.
Ah, yeah. You know what? All right. Good. Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
I like the Ravens because you got a guy playing for a contract. Even though they lost to the Dolphins, I'm still buying with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Lamar has a lot to prove. He's ready to play. Dobbins is starting to run the pill a little better now. I like them. So next, I know y'all gonna hate me for this, but I'm buying Dallas with Cooper Rush.
Yes.
I think he's doing a phenomenal job running the offense. He dropped dimes to CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee dropped them. That defense is playing unruly. Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, balling. And, oh, by the way, your guy from Minnesota, that linebacker from Minnesota.
Oh, Anthony Barr.
Anthony Barr is balling.
Yes, he is.
So I'm buying. I got to buy Dallas. I know I hate it. I almost threw up in my mouth, but yeah, I go with Dallas. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm going with Jacksonville. Yeah. Even if they're going to beat this weekend, I think that they're fundamentally sound enough that they'll make it to the playoffs right now.
And they're in a very favorable division too.
Yeah, very favorable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I'm buying it. I'm buying what Barrett is selling. I agree with him. I mean, I look at the South. Like, who scares you? The Colts, maybe. I think the Colts could maybe win that division, but if you ask me,
a big maybe though.
Yeah, if you ask me right now, I think it's Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville comes out of there with like a 9-8 record. I think it's going to be kind of similar to what the Eagles did last year. They got in the playoffs with a 9-8 record. I think Jacksonville could do the same, and this could even win them the division, unlike what the Eagles did last year. Look, good choices. I had the Ravens too. I really believe in the Ravens. Lamar Jackson's playing. Not that there was ever any question about his effort, but he's even more motivated with the contract thing.
Very much so.
Playing his tail off. They're getting healthy. They got running backs back, as you mentioned, Barrett. Last week, they get Marlon Humphrey back. They got another defensive back last week. So they're getting healthy at the right time. They're well coached. They're not happy the way, they're not happy the way last year went. And, the North is kind of weird. This year it's Cincinnati's down a little bit to start. Cleveland is doing a nice job holding the fort until Watson gets back, but I don't know what Watson's going to look like when he comes back. And Pittsburgh just the quarterback thing is not great and Watt's out. So I like Baltimore a lot. So I'm buying Baltimore big time. I'm buying the Raiders.
Whoa. Did you say the Raiders?
They're going to come back.
You're buying the Raiders?
Yes.
I was about to say they finally set Kyle Hamilton down and only playing him sporadically, but I can't even say that. I'm interested to hear this Raiders.
I want to know what you were drinking in the last commercial break.
Right.
If you're picking the Raiders, you had to be sipping something.
Well, here's why. Some of it is by default. And what I mean by that is I think the Chargers are in trouble. I think the Chargers, with some of their injuries, not to the point where I'm selling them off, but I think they're in some trouble with all the injuries and some of the other stuff that's happening right now. Herbert's not going to be right for a while.
Right.
Bosa's banged up. They lost their left tackle. I think the Chargers, and I don't know about their coach. I think the Chargers are in a little bit of trouble. I think Denver is not. I thought they would finish 4th in the division, but be a really good team. I think they're really good defensively. I don't know that guy can coach. And as Barrett was talking about a little bit earlier, I don't know about Russell Wilson right now.
Right.
I think that gives the Raiders a little crack. Like the door is slightly ajar. It's not pushed open. It's not wide open, but I think you can see the light coming through and you're like, maybe. I think they can kind of get their act together. I think there's too much talent there ultimately for them to keep looking like this. And by the way, the 3 games that they've lost by 13 points. Now, first off, you got to be better at finishing, but it's not like they're getting run out of the building by any.
Right.
So,
I get that.
Other than Kansas City, who they have in 2 weeks, it's home against Denver, it's home against Houston, it's at New Orleans, it's Jacksonville, it's Indy, it's Denver. My point is, you could start getting on a little bit of a run and get some confidence. So, I know it seems strange. I know I'm a little crazy here, but I'm going to go Raiders. And lastly, I'm going to go 49ers. I know they lost.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Yeah.
I think that just Garoppolo getting a little bit more comfortable with that defense. Got to get Debo going a little bit. Kittle just came back. I think San Fran will get their act together. And I think they're going to look a lot better than they have. And I think it's going to be a San Fran LA race in that division. I think Arizona drops out, and I don't buy Seattle. So they're the teams I'm buying. I know everybody thinks I'm crazy. I hear you. But that's who I'm buying.
I wanted to put the 49ers on my list because I think the 49ers are a team that may not out-finesse you, but they will physically beat you up. They'll wear you down in submission on both sides of the football. They like to play the power game on offense. They like to out-physical you on defense, but I couldn't put the 49ers on my list. They were my 4th team. I'm buying Jacksonville. As I said off the top of the show, I thought Doug Peterson was a year away from turning that thing around. And all of a sudden, they've come out of the gate the last 2 games against decent opponents, and they held both opponents to 10 points. It's a young team that's fearless. They're fast. The acquisitions they made in the offseason in terms of free agency from Christian Kirk and so on and so forth has really panned out for them. They've still got a long way to go, but, I agree with you guys wholeheartedly. I think right now, as we look at that AFC South, they are the class of the AFC South right now. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that if they stay healthy and continue the way they're playing, they're going to win that division hands down, to be quite honest with you. That's the way I feel. My next team is Miami. I was a suspect of Miami. I knew Miami had a chance to be decent because they spent a lot of money this offseason. You guys know I'm still not a big fan of Tua, but after watching some of the throws he made in their comeback win against Baltimore and some of the throws he made against Buffalo a week after, I said, okay, I may change my perspective on Tua. Not yet. I'm not there yet. But I like what they're doing. Mike McDaniels has his team playing. They play physical on both sides of the football. They are playmakers on both sides of the football. And that's one of the significant reasons why they're the only undefeated team left over in the AFC. Mm-hmm. My 3rd team, I'm like Mr. Brooks. I know people don't want to hear this in this area. I'm buying Dallas. Dallas's defense is playing lights out right now. I mean, they are fast, physical up front. They keep constant pressure on a quarterback, forcing teams to get rid of quarterbacks to get rid of balls a lot sooner than they wanted to. They flushed Daniel Jones out of the pocket all night long, forced him to run a lot more than he wanted to, forced him to hurry throws. I'm only taking Dallas because Cooper Rush is quarterbacking the team. Now, when Dak comes back, especially when Dak comes back the first game after that hand injury. Now, through his career, Dak has been a very efficient quarterback.
Yeah.
He doesn't turn the ball over much. He can make the throws. He's won them a lot of games. But for some reason, after watching Dak play that first game, he played like Russell Wilson. He was sailing passes left and right to receivers wide open in the middle, wide open down the seam. I'm like, what is going on with this team? And because of the emergence of this kid, Noah Brown, you guys heard me talking about this Noah Brown all summer long. And obviously because he played on second team with Cooper Rush, all training camp OTAs, Noah Brown is his favorite target, and Noah Brown is starting to shine. And if Noah Brown keeps getting his chances, I'm not saying he's Amari Cooper, but Dallas fans are going to forget about Amari Cooper in a hurry. If this kid makes some acrobatic catches, he's not afraid to go over the middle. Yeah,
his hands are better CeeDee Lamb.
Huh?
Yeah,
he's just not as explosive an athlete. Yeah,
CeeDee Lamb is like you can't take him off the field because he makes unbelievable plays, but there's basic throws that he drops every game.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
It's
we
like
were talking about that when we were watching the game.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like he hears footsteps, takes his eye
Noah
off
Brown.
the ball.
You're right with Noah Brown. He loves him, man. He loves him.
Yeah.
And when Michael Gallup comes back, Michael Gallup is a game or two away from getting back. When you put Gallup with
you're
that
officially
kid,
depressing me. Yeah.
What's that? I know.
Me too.
I know. But I'm glad Barrett went first because Barrett initially depressed you. I'm just piling on. See, there's a difference. Barrett initially shot you in the arm, and I'm just jumping on the bandwagon. But yes, I had to put Dallas on the list right now.
No, it's real. It's real. Yeah.
Well, Dallas and Miami were on the same line, and I chose Dallas over Miami for shock value. But
that's true.
I just see this team plays better with Cooper Rush than they do.
Yes.
They might try to play a little above and beyond because they're out there fighting for Cooper Rush as opposed to playing with Dak when they're like, all right, Dak will
They're
save the day.
expecting him to do things. Yeah.
Right,
good point.
Right.
That's a really good. How it is sometimes when backups come in, you tighten some stuff up. Sometimes.
Nick Foles.
Yeah. Yep.
But would Jerry Jones dare?
He already said he would
put that multi-million-dollar quarterback on the bench for Cooper Rush.
He said he would already.
No, he said he likes a quarterback controversy. He didn't say he would put Dak on it. He said, I like a quarterback controversy. Now, I don't know if he was just saying that to generate, conversation.
Well, he likes attention too.
He likes attention.
Remember
that. But if Cooper Rush is winning games, I don't think people would care if Dak Prescott is on the bench. To be honest,
Not in Dallas.
Not in Dallas. No.
Well, if the other thing you notice is, miraculously, Dak's telling everybody on this Monday night broadcast, "Hey, I'm close, man."
I know.
You don't think he notices what Cooper Rush is doing?
And here's a great storyline for Cooper Rush. No quarterback in the history of the Cowboys has ever started out 4-0. Now he won a game last year against Minnesota, shocked the world and beat Minnesota, threw for almost 340 yards against Minnesota's defense. He's 2-0 this year.
Yeah.
Now, who are they playing this week?
Dallas.
Who's Dallas got this week?
Dallas is playing Washington.
He's going to be 4-0.
At home.
They're playing Washington?
Is
that in Washington or Dallas?
Dallas.
Oh, he'll be 4-0.
Yeah.
So he'll set a new franchise record for being the first quarterback ever to go 4-0 in the history of the Cowboys.
Right. And they're going to be 3-1.
Yep.
They're going to be 3-1 after this week. The Eagles better pay attention to what's going on here with the Jags because the Cowboys aren't fading. It's going to be a two-horse race here in this division, fellas. It 100% is.
I'm telling you, Leighton Vander Esch down there is playing better than he did all of last year. Anthony Barr, as Barrett alluded to, was a great pickup for them. Micah Parsons is that guy. There's a reason why he was the defensive rookie of the year.
Yep.
In the back end is not afraid to man up against receivers.
Yep.
Now the only weak link on Dallas's defense right now is they're giving up 136 yards a game rushing, and I believe that's because of the fierce pass rush. But they're giving up 136 yards on the ground. So if you're going to have a success against Dallas, you got to test that interior with your run game.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Well, that's where they're weak at it. They're weak in the interior.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any. The pass rush comes from the guys on the outside.
Yes.
And Parsons wherever he is. That's where the pass rush comes.
Yep.
But other guys that they have. I'm not losing sleep over Quentin Bohanna. Was it Bohanna?
Yeah, I'm glad you said it, not me.
I'm glad Quentin Bohanna and the other guy, Osa. Odighizuwa.
I'm not even trying it. Yep.
That guy right there.
That guy.
He hadn't shown me anything either.
Hey, what's the over/under and how many sacks Michael Parsons gets against Washington this week?
I see he's
3.5. 3.5.
I would go 3.5.
I think he gets 3. I think he very well could get 3. Yeah.
He might have 3 in the first half.
Yeah.
He might have 3 in the first half.
Yeah.
He'll go into the next game with 8 sacks. How many is that right here?
He has 4 now.
He has 4. Yeah, he'll have 8 sacks.
Yeah. He had none against the Giants. He has 4 sacks in the first 2 games. You're right. He might be up to 8 sacks after 4 games.
And he missed probably 3 with Daniel Jones just doing a Houdini act. Like it was like miraculous that he even escaped a couple of those. Hey, this is really cool. So the one of the honorary captains on Sunday for the Eagles is going to be Chris Long.
Nice.
That's a good choice.
Nice.
Great choice. Yeah.
I mean, fitting, right? You bring back one of Doug's guys.
Yep.
Kind of cool, right? So I thought that was he announced that on his Green Light podcast. Might be a guy we might want to tap to talk to about that. That might be kind of cool.
I wouldn't be mad if we did.
So there's Chris Long. I thought that was cool. All right.
He's going to be there this game this Sunday?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, let's do our NFC power rankings, guys.
How many teams we doing?
We could do I will tell you this. I'd be perfectly happy doing 5 because you fall off a cliff after 5.
Yep. I'll do 5. Okay.
Just for kicks. I'll give you my bottom feeders. I went 10 Lions, 9 Saints, 8 Vikings, 7 Cardinals, 6 49ers.
Oh, wow.
But there's a fall off.
I stopped at 5.
Yeah, there's a significant fall off. All right, I'll do mine real quick. Rams at 5.
Yep.
Rams at 5. Bucks at 4.
Oh.
The Pack at 3.
Okay.
Cowboys at
2.
At 2.
Oh.
And the Eagles at number 1. Eagles, Cowboys, Packers, Bucks, Rams is my top 5.
Wow.
Yes. I hate jinxing the Eagles like that. I hate putting the Cowboys at number 2, but I got to keep it real. That's where I'm at through 3.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes. So 5 Rams, 4 Bucks, 3 Packers, 2 Cowboys, 1 Philadelphia Eagles. How about you, Gunner?
I went Dallas 5.
Okay.
Tampa Bay 4. Rams 3. Packers 2. Eagles 1.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
This Packers defense is keeping this team in games. They're attacking quarterbacks like I haven't seen this defense attack in years. They've had 2 first-round picks this year. They use them for 2 Georgia players. They're both getting quality time. Rashawn Gary is playing at another level coming off the edge.
Yes.
Their linebacking core has been great for them. They got some hogs in the middle. They picked up Jaron Reed on a 1-year contract to go along with that defensive line. And their secondary, they got 3 first-round picks, although Zaire Alexander now is out with a groin injury again. But they have 3 first. Adrian Amos, the kid they picked up from Chicago a few years ago, has been rock solid as safety for them. Mm-hmm. And then Rasul Douglas has found new life in Green Bay.
He found that life.
That's incredible,
last year.
right?
I'm
Isn't it
shocked.
unbelievable?
He goes from being a cast off of the Eagles to being on a Cardinals practice squad. They pick him off the practice squad. He had 5 interceptions in like 5 games last year, and he's balling now.
Incredible.
So their depth and their versatility on defense is the reason why they're 2-1. Like I said, once those young receivers get on the same page with Rodgers, watch out.
You're right, man.
And you can see it, right? It's a slow developing thing, but you can see it. He's starting to trust them a little bit more. They're making some plays. They're not thinking as much out there. They're reacting. Yeah.
Well, the kid Dobbs finally got a touchdown on a quick slant route. He was a leading pass catcher. He had like 7 catches, 80-something yards for him. Once he learns a complete route tree with his speed, and then what's his name? Lazard is the big target now. If they can keep those guys healthy, Old Man Cobb is still a safety valve for him. His tight end is back. Robert Toyin is back from an ACL tear.
Watkins is hurt again, though.
Watkins is hurt again.
Yeah.
But once he gets it down to a science, because Rodgers not afraid to call people out. A lot of quarterbacks, we just have to do this better as a team. Rodgers basically said, if you ain't catching the ball, you ain't playing. Yeah. Plain and simple. He called it like it is.
Well, it's good. Good 5. Good 5. Yeah. All right.
Mine's in fact, it is exactly the same as yours. I went Dallas number 5.
Okay.
Yep.
Bucks number 4.
Okay.
I just think that old man's gonna figure out a way to get that offense going and that defense going. I put the Rams at number 3 because it's like they're relearning how to win again, and they got Aaron Donald all pissed off, so he jumped into being the best defensive player in the world again. Then the Packers, like you said, the Packers are not going to stay down. They're in a position now where the young guys are starting to play. Wyatt is starting to play a little better.
Yeah.
Quay Walker is balling.
Yes.
Running from sideline to sideline. And then, Romeo Dobbs is stepping up, and Christian Watson scared to death to drop another pass.
Yeah, you ain't lying. He may never drop another pass as long as he's in Green Bay.
You ain't never lie. And then, then I go with the Eagles. They're fun. I mean, the teams that are fundamentally sound will make the most hay, during this season. If you're fundamentally sound, it doesn't matter what adversity or what play, what happens on a field or what. If you're fundamentally sound, you'll be a better team. You may necessarily not have all the best talent in the world, but fundamentally sound teams are the teams that are winning right now. Yeah. Not the teams with the best athletes, not the teams with the best players, but the teams that do things fundamentally sound, man. Because there's so many times where you find teams that are talented, they get out of sorts, they get out of place, they play at another level, and that's when you get beat. That's exactly when you look at the Rams. The Rams play so undisciplined, at times that's why their defense is giving up all the plays they're giving up. They're not playing fundamentally sound. They'll win because they're talented as far as who they have there. But once they settle down, and I think they are going to settle down because they have the experience there also. I don't know why they haven't jumped up, but the experience is starting to take over now. Wags, Bobby Wagner, he's starting to step it up now, and then Donald's going to start stepping it up. That'll get that defense, rally back on track to where they're supposed to be. But once they start playing disciplined football, them sitting at number 3, they'll eventually move up. Yeah. But I just think the Eagles right now are just playing fundamentally sound. They're doing things the right way. They're crossing their T's, they're dotting their I's. Just like I said, after that first game against Detroit and how they play in Detroit, I told everybody, look, it doesn't matter who they play. They're going to beat up who's ever in front of them. If they'd have played, Buffalo, that second game, they'd have beat Buffalo too, because they knew what they had to do. They played so well at crossing their T's and dotting their I's and doing the little things to become better. Their tackling got better. Running the ball got better. Offensive line got better. Defensive line started, rushing the passer. Cornerbacks stayed disciplined and tackled. Safety started showing up. Those are things in which you're taking care of yourself, and that's why they got better. They took care of themselves. It wasn't necessarily what they game plan for Minnesota or what they game plan for Washington. Is what they're doing internally to get better. Getting better at the little things, tackling, blocking. So I know right now that offensive line coach is pissed, and he has those guys in there doing extra. Watch what I tell you. This will be a totally different offensive line than you saw last week, because I'm telling you, the guys up front got beat. The interior 3 got beat up against that, and that's exactly what Jacksonville is looking at. They're like, oh man, we can run games, we can beat them because they're not playing together. They'll have their stuff straight because that's all Jacksonville does. Let's run line stunts. End, nose around, or tackle, end around, ETs, NTs, all that. That's what they're going to do. They're going to run stunts to try to get those guys on different levels because they're not playing together as an offensive line. Stoutland will have them playing together as an offensive line. They're going to do a lot more. They're going to run the ball against this team just because they can't. They're going to run the ball against.
I think what's interesting, listening to both of you guys and all of us doing our list of the 5. Whether it's the Cowboys, the Packers, the Bucks, Rams, and whoever else we mixed in there, but it's kind of like that grouping. I find less flaws with the Eagles. I'm not trying to come off like a homer here, but I see on both sides of the ball, I see a more complete team right now with less question marks. And, that really bodes well. And I also there's a diversity of the way they can hurt you offensively, defensively. If there's any kind of carryover with all those sacks, now the defensive line's kind of figured things out a little bit. Philadelphia looks more complete to me than Dallas or Green Bay or the Packers. I know, granted, there's X factors. There's Brady with the Bucks. The Rams did win it last year. I get that, but it's still somewhat unknown what Hurts is exactly. But do you guys, let's just talk about Hurts for a minute. Do you see him like, I know not every game is going to be great. You're going to have bumps in the roads, and even the best ones have bad games. But I don't see him all of a sudden just falling off.
Oh, no.
I think we're past that. We're way past that.
No, I think of what we've seen of Hurts the first 3 games is the consistency we're going to see from him the entire season. Now, it won't look as good all the time as it has. No player is like that every game. You do have a bad game, a dog will bite. You have one of those dog day afternoons. But, when and where it's going to happen here, we don't know. But we know he has the mental makeup to bounce back from that in a hurry. If anything, if he has an off game, he's going to come back stronger the next game because of his mindset.
Right.
Plain and simple.
Well, one of the things Sirianni talked about, I think was it? No, maybe it's Steichen. When it was either Sirianni or Steichen today, sorry. But one of them was talking about how I was like Thursday of last week, practice was over. He was doing some stuff in his office. He goes walking through, the facility, and he hears somebody in the weight room, like late in the afternoon or whatever. And he looks in there and it's Hurts, and there's nobody else in there. Like this dude is he's on a mission, and it carries over. You hear the veterans quoting his cliches. It's just, he's a different guy, man.
You want that type of leadership, man. First one in, last one out, doing the little things. He's almost to a point now where he's just his work ethic alone is pushing him to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's doing everything possible to count all his naysayers wrong, man.
Yeah.
Everything possible.
He's got a nice combination of chip on his shoulder, work ethic, ability.
Yes. And don't get that arm strength.
Yep.
Oh, Jalen Hurts could never be a passing quarterback. He can't even throw down the field. His deep balls are atrocious. Mm-hmm. He has no fundamentals. He can't do. I'm like, dude, can he learn? Oh, you can't learn to read defenses that fast. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. He can't get better. Oh, he'll never be a guy that can throw a 20-yard pass.
Yeah, they're putting like the never tag on a guy who played 2 years. Like, come on, man, who's 23 years old, who works his tail off. Yeah, he may ultimately prove that he in the end he may not have. I don't think so, but he may not have enough talent. But I think he does. But to say never on him going into this year was just way premature. It was kind of a hater thing. All right, so we will we'll take a quick time out. We will come back. We'll do a little birthdays, some movies, a bunch of other odds and ends.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Rob again? All right. Well, as Rob was saying, when we come back, we've got birthdays, we've got some movies, and we'll put a nice bow on this edition of Sports Take with Rob Ellis, my man Barrett Brooks, and I'm Derek Gunn. Don't go anywhere. Coming right back.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Hey, we're back with the final segment of Sports Take on this Wednesday. We affectionately like to refer to it as Hump Day. He's Barrett Brooks. I'm Derek Gunn. Somehow, some way, Rob Ellis has mysteriously disappeared. There he is. Rob, I got one question for you. I got one question.
Yes.
Can you just stay with us for the last segment? I mean, I know you don't like being with us, but I mean, we only have like 21 minutes left in the show. Can you hang with us?
What I'm going to do, what I should have done, I should have just gotten back on with my either my phone or my laptop, and I could have walked outside and shown you what's going on. I got to imagine it has something to do with it. My whole street and sidewalk is torn up, man, torn up. So
you know what you need to do?
Yeah.
See, back in the day when I was in college at the University of Wisconsin Whitewater, it was in an area way out in the middle of nowhere. So we all had TVs, but you couldn't get much of a dang signal. So we used to take like a piece of copper and you take it. You think I'm kidding? You put it with the antenna and you run it along the metal stripping of the wall, of the window, and you find your hot spot and you tape it right there. You may have to do that with your laptop.
I
or your
might
computer.
do that. That's good.
This is becoming monotonous, Rob.
That's old school. I like that.
So let's see. What's today? Wednesday. So Monday, I dropped out for like 45 minutes.
Yes.
Yesterday, Rob left me, Barrett, for like 3 times in the show.
Somebody's out to get us, man.
and then he's disappeared. How many times a day? Twice.
We're putting pressure on everybody, dog. We're putting pressure.
We are. Everybody's afraid.
Rough pressure. JAKIB Media is jumping.
We're in a lot of heads right now.
Man, so I just hope you hang for at least, what is it, 2:38? So we have
I got you.
19 minutes to go, Rob. That's all we need is 19 consistent minutes.
Let me hit you with this weird story. So Marlins pitcher Richard Blyer, okay, not to be confused with Rocky Blyer, the former Steeler. No, not Rocky, Richard, okay. He balked last night 3 straight times to one batter. So there was a runner on first base. First balk, he advanced to second. Second balk, he advanced to third. Third balk, he scored. He lost his mind after it. So did Don Mattingly. Both guys get tossed. So this is the first time that's happened since 1900 in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
It's the first time it's ever happened to this guy in his career he's ever been called for a balk. He said he did nothing different than he's done in his entire career. Okay. He said it's 300 something innings in his career. He's done the same exact thing. But isn't that crazy?
Wow.
There's only 6 other pitchers in Major League history who have balked 3 times in the same inning, ever. But like he's one of them now.
Jeez.
So very weird stuff. Who knows? But both he and Mattingly Mattingly's leaving after the season anyway, so he's like, screw it.
He's like, hey, nice knowing you.
Yeah. So they both just blasted the umpire after the game. So interesting.
You notice, this is how closely people watch our show. Chris D is filling people in who are just joining. You see what she says? They broke down the top 5 in the NFC. Now it's just the last segment, wrap up birthdays, etc., etc. But Rob's Wi-Fi keeps dropping him out.
She's not wrong.
She's doing the play-by-play of the show.
I know. Chris is great. Yeah, I love it. Chris.
I love
awesome. We need her to train us. She could be our show trainer. We need all the help we can get.
No, my body can't take the kind of abuse anymore, man. Because I'm telling you, I'd be wrapped up in a Bengay mummy cloth after that session. Although I probably need it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Rob, I'm watching it. He is going nuts.
Yeah, he loses his mind.
Yeah,
he is going nuts. He's scoring, and there's Don is going nuts also.
It's entertaining. Yeah, it's entertaining. Wow. I watch it a couple times myself.
That's must see. That's must see TV, everybody.
It is. So Lonzo Ball is now having another knee procedure. It's the second one on the same knee since January, and the third one on that knee since he made it to the NBA. He said he can't do anything without pain. Not a good sign for a dude as young as he is.
That's too young for him to be happy. Something else has got to be going on in there, man.
He said he can't even get up.
Yeah, he can't do anything.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's real bad.
He tried to rehab it. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
He tried to rehab it all summer. Basically, he was rehabbing in LA all summer, and he'd have a day where he was okay. And then it got to the point where, like Barrett said, he couldn't do anything, and they had to shut him down. They're not putting a timetable on it, but I would expect him back anytime soon.
Right. He's in Chicago now. Yeah. Who's he with now?
Chicago.
With the Bulls. Okay.
Yeah.
I think his brother just signed another non-guaranteed contract.
Middle one did. Yeah. The young one's in Charlotte with him. Yeah, he signed with Charlotte with the young one. Yeah.
These all the
brothers, Lonzo and LaMelo.
Yeah, they were all supposed to be can't miss ballers, and I think the one in Chicago is the only one that's really excelled, isn't it?
No, the young one in Charlotte.
The young
monster. Yeah.
Oh, okay, the
young ones. Yeah,
he's the best one.
Baller, yeah.
Okay.
He's better than Lonzo. Yeah. So yeah. All right. Now, I know you guys know, but I play pickleball. Okay. I am a pickleball enthusiast. Okay. It's a combination of tennis, like ping pong. You use this hard plastic ball with these kind of weird rackets, but it's fun. Okay?
And it's loud too.
It's tonk.
Yeah.
That's all you hear when you play. And I play like 2-3 times a week.
What?
Yes. Early mornings.
Wow.
Yes. I play on Saturday morning a lot of times before I have to go into work, or I'll try and sneak in a game like after we're off the air and I don't have 17 other things to do in the afternoon. So it's fun. But LeBron James is a believer in the pickleball.
Really?
He is investing in a professional pickleball league.
Oh, you got to get in that league, Rob.
I know.
Do they have a senior citizen league?
If they pretty much all it is. But listen to this. So it's Lamar, Maverick Carter, their LRMR Ventures, headlining a new ownership group for Major League Pickleball. NBA champions Draymond Green and Kevin Love as well are involved in this thing. It's the first of its kind. 12 to 16 teams will be playing in the league. And according to one of these guys who's involved, and this is where you guys need to listen up, pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the country. Thank you.
I heard about it, bro.
Yes.
I heard.
I wouldn't be surprised. What was the game what was the sport that ESPN was televising a couple of years ago, and our friend Marshall Harris was doing some of the spike ball with that mini trampoline thing?
Yes.
And that became, but that kind of died out. I mean, it was a phenomenon for 1 year.
Like a lot of people will play on the beach and having a few pops. It's a big beach kind of game. So.
I watched 1 or 2, and I'm like, okay, interesting, but I'm not watching again. I mean,
I will YouTube. I'll send you guys some links to pickleball. You guys are going to get into it, man. I'm telling you, you'll love it. Trust me. Mark my word.
Okay,
it's fun.
All right. Okay.
All right. Let's do some birthdays. We'll start. Hillary Duff is 35 years old. The singer.
That's disrespectful, Rob. That is
what?
So disrespectful.
What, giving her age
What's
up?
that?
No. It's disrespectful that you didn't go Tyler Lockett, K-State's finest.
His birthday.
He's only 30.
Yeah, exactly.
Why does it seem like he's older than that?
Because he's been in the league a long time, man. He's 29, actually.
Man.
29. Tyler Lockett. Don't respect that, man. Respect that.
Fair. And not I was gonna say K-State's finest, but everybody's playing for second for K-State's finest.
Whoa. Oh,
behind Barrett Brooks. Everybody's playing for second. That's what I mean. That was totally respectful. Right there. Steve Largent. If we're going to stay on receivers, I'll give you another receiver who was a phenomenal.
Great.
Oh, Seahawks for years. Amazing career. 68 years old. I can't believe he's that old. But he is 68 years old. Ben E. King, who was the artist of Stand By Me.
That's
the
right.
original. Was born this day in 1938. Classic, man. Classic. And just such a great that song has such a rich sound to it.
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
yeah,
it
does.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. So yeah, rest in peace, Benny King. Naomi Watts is 54 years old, another good actress.
Yep.
Been in a lot of stuff. Mira Sorvino, who's an actress and director.
One of my favorite actresses.
Yeah, 55, man. She's the daughter of Paul Sorvino, who passed away recently.
You know, when she hooked me was, she won an Academy Award too for Mighty Aphrodite.
She did.
But when I was like, okay, who is she? But I really became a big fan of hers in the movie The Replacement Killers.
Oh, yeah.
That movie was awesome, man. Yeah. And I've been a big fan of hers ever since then. That movie came out back in 1998. But, man, she is tall. She's like 5'11", man.
Statuesque. Yes.
Oh, my goodness. She's 55 now.
Got some wheels. Yes.
55 still looks good for 55.
She is doing well for the speed limit. Yes. So the speed limit. I'll give you guys a story. Rob, no. I liked Mira Sorvino. I'll give you a story about that. So I had a teacher. I had my freshman year in high school. His name was Mr. Smith, and he taught Algebra 1. Okay, so if the limit to what he would give you, like the worst you could do was a 55 on a test, because he didn't want to bury you too badly. Okay,
right.
He want to give you a 20, and you're trying to dig out of that. So it was kind of a service that he did for you. But he took particular glee when he would walk around handing out the test when you got a 55. And that was his move. He would turn around and go, speed limit. And he would slam it down on your desk. And you were like, come on, Mr. Smith. He's like, no, Ellis, speed limit. And he would like drop it on my desk. And then he just like pivot away and start laughing at me. He was that kind of guy, Mr. Smith. I loved him, man. But he was
speed limit. I like that.
Yeah.
I like
that. Was another. So that was my very first. It was like my first period freshman year, right? So I'm sitting there, first class of the day, and it was one of those classes where you guys, I'm sure, had these in high school, where there were like dudes who were like seniors and juniors in there somehow.
Yeah.
Right. So I had this dude next to me, man, who had almost like a full beard. He looked like he was like 37, and I'm 14. Like, hey, how are you? And this dude was like looking like a serial killer. Okay, like,
oh my goodness,
he was not to be messed with. This
oh
cat,
man,
you know what I mean? And so after that, I just learned, like, I'm not saying a word to this guy, man.
Oh,
you want to cheat off my paper? Cheat all you want, brother. It's all yours.
Hey, let me clear my good name for a second. Fitness Rebel. What's wrong with tall women, D-Gun? I didn't say anything was wrong with tall women. I said I was a big fan of Mira Sorvino, number one. Number two, I was wowed by the fact that she was a 5'11". That's all. Yeah. So I'm going to make sure people aren't blowing things out of proportion. There's absolutely nothing wrong with tall women. Okay.
Like tall women.
Now, who are we talking about again?
Mira Sorvino.
Oh, Mira Sorvino.
You never saw the movie The Replacement Killers?
I was
It's
lost,
good,
man.
Dude. It's really good.
Dude,
Check
you got to
it out.
see that movie. That movie.
You'll like it.
If you like
it.
action movies, you love this movie.
Alley.
Yes.
Yep. You will dig it. Trust me.
You can probably watch it at your desk like you do when you allegedly working.
Oh.
Wow.
Man, you are ruthless, man. You are ruthless, Gunner.
Wait, Rob. Let me clarify. Barrett, did you not watch movies at your desk?
I may have.
How many movies a day sometimes, Barrett?
Well, there's 4.5 hours, 2 movies.
I like it, man. Hey, there was some downtime. He had some downtime.
Right.
He was already prepped. He had plenty of time.
Right.
No, I'm a huge fan of tall ladies. All right, so Young Jeezy, 45 years old.
Jeezy.
Now, can he still be Young Jeezy at 45?
I don't understand how
young.
you be. No, but you can't be Young Jeezy. So I think it's just Jeezy now,
right?
No,
Yeah.
no, at 55 you can't be Young Jeezy. 45 still
So he's
young.
got 10 more years of Young.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Like Young MC is like 60 now, isn't he?
Right.
I mean,
Still trying to bust the
he's
move.
still trying to bust a movie, bust a hip. No. All right. Ed Sullivan was born on this day in 1901.
A really
Ed Sullivan
good show.
Really
that was one of my
good
favorite
show.
shows back in the day.
Yeah, it was.
Well, he introduced the United States to a lot of big time artists.
Jackson 5.
Yep.
Yep.
Elvis back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it. He had him on, man. That was the place you wanted to go
Oh yeah.
to get exposure. Think about it. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have cable. You had radio play, but if you wanted to get your stuff really played on radio, you needed some TV exposure.
Yep.
And
Eagles' own Michael Kendrick's birthday's today.
Good
Michael Kendrick. What the heck is he doing nowadays?
Hopefully he's out of jail.
Oh, he's out of jail. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he doing
I'll
now?
tell you, he was a pretty good player. It's a shame there was, other stuff going on there.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
My fraternity brother and fellow St. Louisan,
St.
Joe
Louis.
Torre. Yes, Joe Torre.
Joe Torre.
Joe Torre is 56.
That's all? I thought he was like 66.
Oh, not the manager, Joe Torre.
Not the manager.
Oh, the
St.
comedian.
Louis on the comedian. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What happened to him? He was
in Poetic Justice, right?
Yeah, he had a good run.
yeah.
He had a really good run at one point. I wonder what happened to him.
I don't know. He's still doing his thing.
That guy was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Is he still doing stand-up?
Yeah, he is actually. I saw him when I went down to when I went to Carolina.
Oh, for your
fraternity, yeah.
Okay. Any other birthdays, Gunner? Did I miss any?
Let's see. Bam Margera.
Oh, Bam Margera.
Jackass fame.
Bam's had some issues.
Man, you missed the big one, man. Bridget Bardot. How did you miss Bridget Bardot?
Oh, you know what?
How did you miss that?
She's 88.
Yep, 88. One of the best big sex symbols of the 50s and the 60s.
She was strong back in her day.
Yeah, back in her day, she was elite. You put her in that elite category.
She was a 1 seed.
Yeah, yeah, 1 seed. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Yo, John Dickerson said Joe Torre's cooking Chinese fried rice these days.
Oh man. Enough crowd.
You know about that St. Louis fried rice.
That's your favorite play? Yeah, that's you said it's the best.
Man.
Yeah, you said it's the best.
Oh
there.
my goodness.
Oh my God. All right. Couple of movies. Pitch Perfect, which obviously they made a couple sequels, I think.
They made, I think 3. There's 3 total, I believe.
Has it been 3?
Yeah, the first one was good. I like the first one.
The original was 2012.
With the women
unique.
in my family.
I mean, it was different.
Yeah, it was different.
Not for you, Barrett.
No, just couldn't get into it.
My kids, my daughter loved it.
I mean the kids love it.
You don't like musicals, Barrett?
Not really. I'm not a music guy, really. I don't even really listen to music.
I promise you, if you watch the movie The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman, you will love that movie. The Greatest Showman is a great movie. I didn't know Hugh Jackson could sing. I mean, he's not like Luther Vandross or anything, but Hugh Jackman, you're so used to seeing him in all these rough and rugged movies like Wolverine and stuff. But Hugh Jackman played a great role in The Greatest Showman.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's a really talented actor, that guy. Performer. Zoolander, 2001.
Yes.
Ben Stiller and
never saw that movie in its entirety.
Owen Will. You probably don't need to watch. I would.
Okay.
That's one you flip on for a couple minutes and there's some goofiness, and then it's like an Adam Sandler movie,
Yeah, you'll eventually come bored with that.
Yeah, I couldn't get through the whole thing. It's some people love that movie. They think it's just this like
cult following,
campy kind of thing. It's okay. It's okay. It's got its moments, but it's not. After you're right, Barry. After like 15 minutes, it's the same sort of joke.
Right. Blue ice.
Yeah, he's always doing the model like fish face. What do they call
that?
Yeah.
Duck.
Duck face.
Duck. Yeah, duck something.
Fish face.
Fish face. Come up with this stuff, man.
I knew it was some. I don't know what it was. Anyway.
Something with a duck. Yeah.
Right. Did I miss any movies there, Gunner?
Nope. You're on your point. Spot on today. Spot on.
All right. So that's that was the movies and the birthdays. So the Eagles tomorrow. So tomorrow, Barrett, Thursdays. Walk me through what Wednesday is. Is Wednesday install and then Thursday sort of executing that? Is that what happens on Thursdays?
No, Wednesday you do all the physical run stuff. So you put in your run play, goal line, short yardage. You have 9-on-7 drills. You put in third and short, what you're going to run. Those are the type of days, that's the first install. Thursdays are usually where you go out and you do your third and long, your one-on-ones and stuff like that. You put in your passing offense, and that's how that goes. And then, your 2-point, 3-point plays and stuff like that. Then Friday it's not a walkthrough, but it's like a run through of everything, just getting that game plan together. And then Saturday, you either traveling to the place or something like that.
Okay. Hey, so 2 things on that. Both Slay and Landon Dickerson not practicing today. Both guys.
Big, huge.
Yeah, and we knew Dickerson with the foot. He's been having some issues. And Slay's just been, his hip just kind of generally sort of banged up from that Vikings game, which he hasn't really – I mean, I think he's gutting it out, but hopefully these guys can kind of get it together. So there are 2 things. A.J.
Brown.
Brown.
Most important thing.
Yeah.
Rob's Wi-Fi held up.
So we got through it. A.J. Brown not at practice, expecting the birth of his second child at any moment. So that.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So that explains that, obviously. That's it from an injury standpoint. It doesn't look like there's anything all that severe, which is good. I mean, so far so good. We've seen some other big names really go down around the NFL. So, all right, tomorrow we're back at it, guys. Same time, same place, and I'll be on actually a little bit later with Dan Cilio on the National Football Show. So jumping in with Sills around 3:30 if you guys want to. If you aren't sick of me enough, I'd be getting a little bit more of me a little bit later. Anyway,
what is this?
What happened?
Rob got that new Viagra router from Comcast. What the heck is that? What? Rob, you know something we don't know?
No, obviously not.
I don't want to know it.
Yeah,
I don't want to know it.
Nobody wants to know. Nobody wants to know.
Really?
On that note, geez, what a way to end it. All right, thank you guys. Thanks everybody for in the chat room. Everybody,
I'm not coming back tomorrow.
Thanks, Xander. No, we're back tomorrow. Yes, you
are.
I'm not. Yes, you are. Back at the same time, 12 Eastern. For Barrett, for Derek, I'm Rob. Have a great night, everybody.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Up.